think we're good. Things seem stable for now. Alright, alright. Okay, I think we're good to start. Happy Wednesday, excuse me, not Wednesday. Happy Thursday, everybody. As I am sitting in the midst of a tropical system. Nothing too crazy yet, and thankfully I do not live anywhere near the coasts, at least this time around. So yeah, impromptu stream. Went ahead and picked something. I just went ahead and grabbed whatever was in ABC order in my Steam library, and I remembered that I had bought this 428 Shibuya Scramble. This apparently well-renowned visual novel. Picked it up a while ago, and I had a had a free day to myself, so I figured, why not? Why not go for it? Shouldn't be too taxing. Shouldn't take up too much of my. Shouldn't have to divide my attention too much between I don't know, gaming and getting into streamer mode. Okay, so I might have to sit myself a little closer. Because it does appear I am going to have to use the keyboard. Okay, brand new. Let's go ahead and start. Save file, sure. Okay, do you want the guide to gameplay to be displayed to recommend first-time players? Sure. No, I'm just wondering if that means there are certain quirks that this particular game does, or that or if that's for something that, you know, people who aren't used to visual novels might need. Because I played a few of them in my time. Let me just take it a little lower in my ears, and we should be good. I like the groove here. Oh, yeah. So for the first time ever, I'm using a windshield on my microphone. Because there was some ambient noise I noticed in the last batch of streams I've been doing. I thought it was the air conditioning, but I'm starting to think it just might be the cooling pad that I have right beneath the razor blade I am playing and streaming this on. So I figured if this thing can, you know, reduce the number of peas popping, maybe it'll do something for the ambient hum of the cooling pad. Awoos, welcome. We're going to Shibuya. We're taking a field trip to Shibuya. I'm just sitting back and I'm letting the score play. Yeah, today was the today I have a hurricane day off. Tropical system day. I have one of those off again. So we're doing this now. Hurricane hype. As I said, I'm nowhere. Okay. 会社員の話によりますと、立てこもっている男は北島という男である可能性が高いとのことです。 I've been Desi. Oh, he's got one of those scarecrow bags on his head. You're gonna have to smack the screen, the windshield a little harder than that, sweetheart. Well. Alright, well, we didn't get out in time. So that's a game, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Okay, Shibuya's story is yours to tell. I do like telling stories. Okay, so this is the first time I've played a visual novel that had a character select screen. As you play through the game, the various mechanics will be explained. In 428, you follow the stories of multiple protags at once. Your decisions impact their experiences as you read the story. What does the day hold in store? Their fate is in your hands. Hopefully you can see them all through to the end. To start, you have two characters, Shinya Kano and Achi Endo. Let's begin by checking out Kano's story. Okay. Well, game, you're, picking for me. Okay, so his head tilts and he kind of steps forward. Okay, let's go, let's see what a day in the life of Kano is like. Just 2 more minutes to go. Shinya Kano noted the time again on his watch, scowling at the slow creep of the second hand. The time was 9:58 a.m. Furrows of consternation creased his forehead. He wasn't nervous, but he knew better than to expect everything to go smoothly. Keeping a level head was proving rather difficult. There was no room for failure. Lives were on the line here. Yeah, this is going to be a big ol' reading stream. He eyed his surroundings. Can spacebar move forward for me too? Was the perp really going to show up? Okay, cool, it does. Okay, that makes things a little less awkward for my arms. When? Where would he be coming from? How would he make his approach? The Shibuya Scramble was as packed as ever. A throng of people crossing this way and that, blissfully unaware of the dozens of detectives hidden in its midst. Alright, another minute and a half. Well, he's looking dapper. Kano glanced down at his watch yet again. A mere 30 seconds had passed. Detective Kano had been with the enforcement arm of Shibuya's Criminal Affairs section for a year now, but he'd never been a part of an operation this big before. He eyed the young woman standing beside the statue up ahead. She was small enough to get lost in the crowd, and she carried a nondescript attaché case. Attaché, excuse me. Hitomi Osawa, age 19. The attaché case in her hands contained a full 50 million yen in cash. Someone's gonna have to tell me what the exchange rate is for that. Yesterday, her twin sister Maria had been kidnapped. This was the ransom payment. The culprit had called Hitomi last night at home, referring to her by name and telling her to wait by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya. That's the dog one, right? It was almost time, but nothing. Kano was staring fixedly at the second hand on his watch when a homeless man sitting on the sidewalk murmured just loud enough for him to hear. Come on, Kano, quit looking at your watch so much. What if the kidnapper sees you? Kano tried to look nonchalant as he lifted his eyes, but the scruffy character continued. You're too nervous. Just relax already. You're the one acting suspicious, Sasayama. Kano frowned. Why would some homeless guy be talking to me? Yuji Sasayama was a senior officer at the Shibuya Precinct's Criminal Affairs Division, 5 years older than Kano. Okay, well, let's see. Some words and phrases appear in the text. Some words and phrases in the text appear in blue. These are called tips. Press tab to underline a tip, then press space. This will let you read some extra info relating to that word or phrase. There are tips containing general knowledge and ones that are 428 specific. Okay, 428 specific. These are marked with a magnifying glass and a 428 respectively. Okay, will tab get me anywhere? Okay, that's Shibuya Precinct. Okay, official name Shibuya Central Precinct, responsible for the safety of approximately 200,000 people in 32 neighborhoods, including Uehara. Let's see. Ugisu Danicho, Uragawacho, Ebisu, Ebisunushi, Ebisu Minami, Oyamacho, Kamiyamacho, Sakuragaucho, Sasazuka, Saruga Kucho, Shibuya Shoto, Jingume, Shinsenkyo, Jinan, Sendagaya. That's okay. You know what? I get the idea. I get the point. He always went a little overboard with the disguises. He claimed it was all a part of the job, but word around the station was that he just liked playing dress-up. Hey pal, spare some change? Sasayama lurched to his feet and shuffled close to Kano. Hey, knock that off! Fittingly for the part, Sasayama reeked pretty badly. Well, ain't so suspicious now, huh? He clung to Kano with a mock camaraderie despite the younger man's attempts to pull away. Come on, Sasayama, cut it out. Sasayama's blithe confidence rattled Kano's nerves. Of course, there was good reason for that confidence. This was Kano and Sasayama's jurisdiction. I think I know what jurisdiction means, but a particular region over which an organization or a member thereof has control or authority. Refers here to the areas under the jurisdiction of various police precincts. The Metropolitan Police Department, at the pinnacle of Tokyo's police hierarchy, has vastly more authority than local precincts. But since many officers wind up needing to work with both, the outright rivalry between the two isn't as noticeable as TV dramas may make it seem. Okay, the statue of Hachiko was surrounded by the elite investigators from one of HQ's special investigation teams. Sometimes two or more tips will appear on the screen. Tab repeatedly. Okay. Because we get multiple swipes of tab. Turn. Okay, so... Okay, bronze statue of a dog erected in 1934. The dog was famous for loyally waiting for his absent master. Well known as a meetup spot outside of Shibuya Station, other popular meetup spots at the station are the display car for the original Tokyo 5000 series, commonly known as the Green Frog, and the Moyai statue by the west entrance. And they said I could just... tab? Okay. HQ here refers to the Metropolitan Police Department, the Tokyo Police Section responsible for managing 101 precincts within the city, Japan's largest police organization. In addition to protecting Tokyo, it has various other duties and authorities for maintaining public order in the capital. Okay, Kano and his partner were just there to provide backup if the kidnapper attempted to flee. Look, just try to relax. We'll be fine. Sasayama gave him a wink. A moment later, the radio squawked in Kano's ear. Alright, everyone, it's time. Keep your eyes open. Okay, they're probably in a van somewhere. Okay, the voice coming through the earpiece was Koji Kuze, HQ's operations director, the individual responsible for directing the investigation in the event of a serious crime. If a task force is set up, the operations director is the one who assumes command. TV dramas and other fictional accounts often feature some young prodigy from the MDP as an operations director, but in reality, the position usually goes to a proven veteran. Alright. Okay. Alright. Until last year, he'd been the Shibuya Precinct's head detective and Kano's supervisor. We don't know when the perp is going to make contact. Don't let your guard down. You got it, Chief. Kuze's low, gravelly voice echoed in Kano's ear. You don't sound too worried, Kuze. Kano winced at Sasayama's words. How could the man be so nonchalant? The appointed time had come and gone. Something should be happening. Whap! Kano smacked himself a little in the thigh to release a little tension. Oh, so we got a thigh slap right there. The sound was louder than he'd intended. Though the suit hit his muscular physique, it did little to dampen the noise. He needed to stay focused. He might be called to action at any moment. The department handled abduction cases according to a certain standard investigation procedure. Was it an attempt to extort money, or was the motive something personal? The answer to that question determined how they deal with the criminal. And based on the investigation team's initial findings this time around, they probably weren't dealing with a professional kidnapper. Still, in all likelihood, it was someone with quite a long rap sheet. Probably someone who knew the family, but so far they had few leads on who might bear such a grudge. With the situation so unclear, the plan was to apprehend whoever came to make the handoff in sight. If the culprit ran with the money, there'd be no guarantee of the hostage's well-being. Still nothing, Sasayama muttered. There he is! He's here! Kuze broke in, his voice spiking into an excited chirp. Okay, his very good voice will cook. Whenever he gets overly flustered or excited or panicked, he slips into a childish register, prone to babbling and pitching his voice. Go get him! Get him! Right, okay, I think I got it. Subject is a young male in his 20s, wearing a bandana and an orange hoodie. Kuze, normally calm and stoic, was now squawking excitedly like a child. That only happened when he got particularly worked up. Kano and Sasayama steeled themselves. Well, there's our dude. They could see the subject now. A 20-something male nonchalantly approached Hitomi to talk to her. All right, people. Be ready to grab this guy. Kuze was stationed in the mobile command center not far from the intersection, keeping tabs on the situation via video surveillance from the camera team. The young man started speaking enthusiastically to Hitomi. The detectives watched, uncertain. Was this really the kidnapper? Okay. So this is where, okay, we get multiple choices here, it seems. You'll encounter sections like these during the story. Change the lives of other people in addition to changing your own fate. Okay, use that. The current choice will not impact any of the other protagonists. Okay, so those are all kind of self-contained to this specific story. So I think for now... Okay, click while reading to activate the autoplay function. Don't really want to do that. Okay. Tell you what. Normally I would go with A, but I think B would probably be the more prudent choice. Because we want to get our bearings on the actual situation. So we don't know if this is too serious right now, or if this is just a passerby. So let's go with B for the time being. The situation still wasn't entirely clear. He needed to get a better look at things. The newcomer held a bundle of letter-sized paper which he showed Hitomi as he went on talking. Okay, he tried to hand her one of the papers, but she pointedly ignored him. I don't need that. Undeterred, the man kept trying to foist it off on her. Hitomi refused to respond, becoming motionless as the statue of Hachiko behind her. Until finally, the man gave up and walked away. I don't want the autoplay. I can do this by myself, thank you very much. Hold on. Okay, thank you. Autoplay disabled. Alright. Guess it wasn't him. Kano felt the tension of the moment linger in his spine. Guy must have been hitting on her, Sasayama muttered. Okay, succeeding at meeting someone on the fly like this takes a special knack. Looks are also important. Sometimes, of course, the person trying to get your attention out of nowhere is just trying to make a sales pitch for a product or a nearby establishment. At first glance, it isn't always easy to tell the difference. Okay. I mean, she is pretty cute and all. He had a point. Though, of course, something in Sasayama's voice made Kano brace himself. She's got nothing on my Michan. Okay. Michan was Sasayama's wife. They'd gotten married just last month. You know what? He seems like a wife guy. Which is good. Which is nice. You should always be your wife's biggest cheerleader. Let me tell you, Kano. Married life is the best. You gotta hurry up and give it a try for yourself. This was Sasayama's favorite topic lately, and Kano was getting more and more fed up with it. Well, you know what? I'd rather hear about him go on about how much he loves his wife instead of how much he hates his wife like a fucking white American boomer. Sasayama, come on, just knock it off already. The phrase had become a common refrain of his since the department partnered them. Fine. Let's talk about your girlfriend then. Huh? Now, you can't be serious. Sasayama leaned in close again. What's she like? We are not having this conversation. Kano muttered, looking away. Ah, come on! Sasayama set his hand on Kano's chest, still playing the homeless troublemaker. Show me your phone. Let me see your lock screen. Huh? Sasayama pawed for the phone. You've got a pic of your girl on your lock screen, yeah? I do not! But he did. It was scary how on the mark Sasayama's instincts were. Hey, cut it out! We're in the middle of an investigation. I am investigating, Sasayama chuckled as he plucked the phone from Kano's pocket. His face scrunched up with astonishment as he looked at the lock screen. The heck is this? It's not. Ain't this Masami Nagahama? Kano realized he had to bite the bullet. No, that's my girlfriend. Her name's Rumi, and she's... Sasayama cut him off. You're telling me this ain't Masami Nagahama, the famous actress. Because this right here is Masami Nagahama. Like I said, you sly old dog. Trying to make like you're dating Masami Nagahama. I'm not. I mean, I guess Rumi does kind of look like her. Sasayama let out a huff. For real? You really think I'm gonna fall for that? There's nothing to fall for, I swear. Sasayama scowled, unconvinced. Alright. Why don't you marry her? Kano stammered, but he had no answer. The truth was, he would have happily married her already, but there were obstacles that needed to be overcome. Okay, playtime's over. Let's focus on the job. Sasayama handed back Kano's phone and turned his gaze back to Hitomi. Kano let out a uneasy sigh, but his shoulders did feel looser. Maybe Sasayama had been trying to relieve a bit of the tension. Maybe he should be grateful. By now, several minutes had passed since the guy with the papers had gone away. He peered at Hitomi. The strain on her face was visible. In addition to the weight of the attaché case itself, the 5,000, 10,000 yen bills it held weighed close to 6 kilos. Her slender arms must have been getting tired. Still, she refused to set the case down. She wasn't taking any chances with her sister's life. The kidnapping case had begun the day before, at around 7 p.m. This is MPD Dispatch. The Shibuya precinct is reporting a missing person believed to be an abduction. Okay, in Japanese law, the act of indirectly luring or deceiving someone in control of a third party is known as kidnapping. Using forcible threats or violence to achieve the same result is known as abduction. Okay, so we're getting some distinct legal terminology here. Subject is Maria Asawa, a 19-year-old student at Midoriyama Academy, last seen at the LL Diner near campus. A man was allegedly seen forcing her into a car nearby. All officers in the vicinity report to the scene at once. Kano and Sasayama had been working in a burglary case. Hold on. Shit, I passed that. How do I... Oh, that's not what I want. How do I... Okay, that's what I wanted to do. Press up to go back and read sections you've already read. Okay, to scroll ahead. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Ready, scene at once. Okay. Okay, Kano and Sasayama had been working a burglary case in Jingumei's 5th district when they got the call. Alright, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, at roughly the same time, the two arrived at the LL Diner at 7:15 p.m. At roughly the same time, several other officers showed up to secure the area, blocking off entry to nearby roadways and monitoring the surrounding establishments. Inside the restaurant, Kano and Sasayama were met by the girl who reported the kidnapping. It was the victim's twin sister, Hitomi. Could you tell us about when Maria was taken, starting from the very beginning? Kano said, keeping his voice low. My sister and I, we were supposed to go to a party together today. Hitomi was trembling, her voice hoarse. But I messed up the time. I showed up right at 7, an hour later than I was supposed to. So Maria had gone alone to the party, a mixer for locals and exchange students. Hitomi, arriving late, had showed up just in time to glance out through the restaurant window and see her sister getting shoved into a car. She described the vehicle as a blue station wagon of Japanese make. Why? Why would something like this happen to her? Hitomi held back her tears, but she was shaking all over. Did you get a look at the kidnapper? Yes, it was a man, middle-aged. There was another eyewitness, Leland Palmer. He identified himself as a lecturer at Hitomi and Maria's school. I saw too. It's like Hitomi says. I heard Hitomi cry out, and I went to the window to look. And his Japanese was halting as if he hadn't been in the country very long. And I think that maybe the kidnapper was working alone. Leland explained that he'd seen the man shove Maria into the back seat, then clamber into the driver's seat. If he had an accomplice, wouldn't they have been driving? Neither Hitomi nor Leland had gotten a look at the suspect's face. Kano was interviewing others who had been on the scene, looking for other potential witnesses when his phone rang. It was Yoshio Kajiwara, of one of the senior detectives. We've set up a task force for the investigation. Get back to the station once you have a handle on the situation there. Barely half an hour had passed between the time the kidnapping was reported and the time the task force began operation. So for our purposes, task force... Roughly 150 people are working on the case in the Shibuya Precinct's conference room. The main force at work, is HQ's first special investigation unit. Additionally, other detective sections, a riot squad, and investigators from neighboring precincts have been assembled. When Kano and Sasayama got back to the precinct station, Kuze had already arrived from HQ. He informed them that a response team had been formed to investigate the victim's home. Okay, in a case where someone had been abducted for ransom, it is often difficult to resolve the situation without cooperating with the victim's family. But the family can also be a hindrance in making an arrest. To help guide the family's actions, a response team is assembled and stationed at the victim's home, led by an investigator with the proper training. Good to know. Kano could feel a peculiar tension in the air. Unfamiliar MPD detectives scurried to and fro around the Shibuya offices. He pulled one of them aside to get a quick update. An hour had now passed since the kidnapping. There had been one new development. The perpetrator had made a threatening call to the victim's home. He said the following. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., by Hachiko in Shibuya. Have the sister Hitomi bring 50 million yen. If not, the girl's life is forfeit. Kajiwara from the precinct was put on the response team along with detectives from elsewhere who'd received special training in abduction cases. Normally, a local precinct detective wouldn't have gone undercover in a victim's home. Kuze, however, had decided that having a knowledgeable local was crucial and had sent Kajiwara along. The detectives disguised themselves as delivery people and movers to make their way inside without arousing suspicion, arriving there at 8:30. The response team had come prepared to run a trace if the kidnapper contacted the family a second time. Okay, trace the act of pinpointing the source of an incoming phone call. The police are not allowed to do this independently without oversight. They must go through a formalized process that includes securing the cooperation of the phone company. In the past, conducting the trace itself would take time, but nowadays acquiring the location can be practically instantaneous. But there were no further calls. Kano checked his watch again. 20 minutes had now passed since the time designated for the ransom handoff. The kidnapper had yet to appear. Crap. You think we might have spooked him? He wondered aloud. Hey, stay calm. Sasayama scanned the passing throng. He's just playing with us. Why'd this guy even pick this place? Kano voiced the question that he'd been asking himself ever since he heard the kidnapper's demands. Sasayama shrugged. Figure he must want to blend in with the crowd, nab the money, and disappear before anyone knows he's there, would be my guess. In that case, why not pick Shinjuku or Ginza? The big crowd didn't just benefit the kidnapper, after all. It also allowed the police to use the sea of people to conceal their own operation. Right now, there were 50 detectives stationed within a 50-meter radius of where Hitomi stood. The kidnapper would be taking a major risk if his plan was to nab the ransom money and run. That's what bothered Kano. Any criminal with half a brain would know better than to do a handoff in front of Hachiko. You're overthinking things, pal, Sasayama grumbled. No, I'm not. Kano reached into his pocket and pulled out his notepad. This was Kano's dick diary, which he always kept close at hand. I'm going to assume that in this instance, Dick is shorthand for detective. Otherwise, I'm not entirely sure that I should be continuing with this game. Sasayama rolled his eyes. That thing again? Kano ignored him, flipping through the notepad pages. Aha! Here it is. Dick Dictum, 89. The more irrelevant something seems, the more relevant it's bound to be. Yeah, that got my attention too. Actually, you know what? That's not too terrible of a piece of advice. It was a favorite saying of Kyuzo Tateno, an assistant inspector from the Shibuya precinct. Tateno was the kind of detective Kano aspired to be. For the current operation, he'd been placed in charge of Hitomi's personal safety. He was in position to defend her as soon as the ransom had been handed off. Of course, Hitomi hadn't been informed of how much protection she was under. There was a risk that if she acted too secure, it might alert the kidnapper. I think Tateno has the right idea. Sasayama snorted quietly. Maybe. I mean, he's a great detective. Don't get me wrong. But do you know how many irrelevant things there are to consider? Again, Kano ignored him. It didn't matter if nobody else understood. Kano had faith in Tateno, both as a detective and as an individual. He had first witnessed Tateno's brilliance during a standoff at a financial company 3 years earlier. A man had shut himself inside an office, splashing gasoline everywhere and threatening to set the place ablaze. While the others hesitated, Tateno unflinchingly doused himself with gasoline and strode into the building, where he managed to talk the man down and secure the scene. Oh, check out the balls on that dude. The others had been awestruck by Tateno's actions, and Kano, who at the time had been content to be a run-of-the-mill policeman, had found it quite inspiring. Still, you know, Sasayama murmured under his breath. As great as a detective Tateno is, it's not like anyone else in the world has ever heard of him. I suppose not, Kano said. So? Only time anyone ever hears a cop's name is if he's caught up in some scandal or killed in the line of duty. I mean, doesn't really seem fair, does it? Kano just shrugged. It was a strange definition of unfair, really. I mean, you've got celebrity chefs and celebrity hairdressers and stuff. No celebrity gumshoes, you know? Look, please, can you just focus on what we're doing here? Kano rubbed his eyes and turned his attention back to Hitomi. What's the matter? Didn't sleep? Not enough, I guess. Did you eat? Didn't have time. Between bringing in supplies for the base of operations, readying the team's vehicles. Okay, base of operations is usually set up in a large room at the precinct, such as an auditorium. MPD and precinct investigators assemble there, and communications equipment, investigation resources, and such are brought in. Because of the scale and scope of these activities, newspaper reporters can be liable to notice, and so in cases such as kidnapping, where a victim's personal safety is at stake, the flow of information is tightly controlled. Okay, photocopying hundreds of documents and various other tasks. Kano had barely slept the previous night and hadn't gotten a meal in either. What have you been doing? Sasayama puffed out his chest. Saving up my energy for today. So you were sleeping. Kano gave a wry chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. There he is! Kuze's voice chirped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. A man in his 20s wearing a sleeveless red jacket. He's carrying a garbage bag. A young man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet where Hitomi was standing. He strode toward her, a sinister look on his face. He didn't match Hitomi's description, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Maybe the kidnapper had hired some young street punk to snatch the ransom payment. That our guy? What do you think, Kano? Sasayama whispered. Yeah, I think he's got to be. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knees, ready to act fast. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. Could this be the culprit? Or perhaps... The young man tried to snatch the briefcase from Hitomi, but she clung to it with desperate strength. It was him! The detectives rushed in. Whoa, hey, what the hell? The young man cried out frantically and tried to dart away, but the officers closed in, forcing him bodily to the ground. Target secured! Oh, jeez, I think we got another suspect on the scene. Eek, he's taken the ransom! Kuze's hysterics made Kano spin around. Sure enough, a foreign-looking man was sprinting away, attaché case in hand. The mob of detectives scrambled to pursue. Before Kano could react, most of them had run off, leaving him to look after the original suspect. What should I do with this guy, sir? Might have some connection to the kidnapper. Should I bring him in? Huh? Oh, sure, that'd be swell. I'm on it. With the help of one of the remaining detectives, Kano brought the suspect back to the Shibuya precinct. Oh, right. Are we gonna... Is this interrogation time? Yes, it is. Look, how many times do we have to go through this? Cut the crap. In the interrogation room, the young man who gave his name as Achi Endo steadfastly insisted on his innocence. Why'd you try to steal that case? Kano watched Achi's face intently. Like I said, it looked heavy, so I was just trying to help her out. It wasn't inconceivable that a young guy would want to help a pretty girl, but Hitomi had just been standing there, hardly in desperate need of assistance. She hadn't set the case down, so I figured there had to be something important inside. An entry from Kano's Dick diary shot through his mind. Dick Dictum 25, when the tongue slips, grab it and yank out the truth. Classic advice for questioning. Something important, you say, such as, how the heck would I know? Achi spat. He huffed and slumped back in his chair. This standard textbook back and forth had been going on for nearly an hour. Kano didn't mind. Chasing down criminals was all well and good, but questioning suspects was another key part of the job. Plenty of off-the-screen work went into cracking a case. Once again, he had Achi explain what he'd been doing starting from the beginning. When Kano finally emerged from the interrogation room for a short break, he learned that there had been some progress on the case over at the crime scene. What the police hadn't been able to determine yet, however, was whether or not Maria was safe. Fighting back his anxiety, Kano consulted his Dick diary. Dick Dictum 54. Haste makes waste. He felt his tension subside, remembering the right maxim always helped. It was like casting a magic spell. Kano returned to confront Achi once more. You were there to act as a distraction, to mess up the investigation, weren't you? Huh? Achi looked a bit dumbfounded. What are you on about? Dick Dictum 55. The truth hungers to be free. You hungry? Got some katsudon if you like. Okay. Japanese dish consisting of a bowl of white rice topped with breaded pork cutlet and egg. There are several variations, such as sauce katsudon, where the egg is replaced with Worcestershire sauce, and miso katsudon, where the pork is stewed in miso. Not typically the sort of thing a policeman offers a suspect during an interrogation, this could be seen as baiting with food, and it is to be avoided. Well, what the fuck are we doing then? Achi nodded silently. Okay, Achi devoured the bowl of katsudon with gusto. He looked like he hadn't eaten in a while. Man. Hard to imagine the, cops today trying to soften you up with, like, home-cooked meals. Shit. Alright then, spell it. What's this guy after? Achi just shrugged. Ah, no, he murmured, a thick slice of egg-laden pork between his teeth. How many accomplices do you have? Kano asked, but Achi just shook his head as he inhaled his food. Resignedly, Kano flipped through his notebook once more. Let's see, number 115. Use the lights to your advantage. As the minutes ticked past, he found himself referring to his book again and again, trying a dozen different methods to tease out whatever his suspect might be hiding. The experience began to feel strangely surreal, their two voices echoing hollowly in the interrogation room. Eventually, Kano looked at the clock and realized that the questioning had been going on for nearly 5 hours. He still hadn't made any headway. What was he supposed to do next? Tatano would know, but he sure didn't. Still, he was determined to do whatever he could to keep the victim and her family safe. Gritting his teeth in frustration, he pursued the Dick Diary like it was scripture. Number 116. The monotonous questioning was clearly tiring Achi out. His eyelids drooped like they were beginning to get heavy. Number 117. Get 'em when they're tired. Kano's eyes gleamed! That's the Phoenix Wright noise. You're part of some criminal gang, huh? Achi's head slumped forward heavily. Nodding off was basically the same as nodding yes, right? Mr. Kuze, I did it! The young guy we grabbed at the handoff site, he finally confessed to the crime. What? What are you talking about? Kuze laughed in disbelief. We're just about to apprehend the mastermind here. Huh? Kano clutched his cell phone, dumbstruck. Listen, why don't you, Look, just wait here at HQ, okay? No, it can't be. You interrogated the dude for nothing! For nothing! After the kidnapping case wrapped up, Kano tendered his resignation. Guess I'm not cut out to be a detective after all, he thought to himself. He dropped the Dick Diary on his desk as he left the Shibuya precinct for the last time. Okay. Is this one of our... Yeah, that's one of our bad endings. Okay. Kano wound up at a bad end. However, this does not mean that the choice you made for Kano was the wrong one. One of the other protagonists, Achi Endo, has an impact on Kano's fate here. You can avoid a bad end by making a proper decision in another character's story. For a detailed hint, check the tip by underlining the title Bad End. Well, we gotta hit tab, then proceed. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, Kano had every reason to suspect Achi Endo, but arresting him turned out to be a mistake. If Achi hadn't approached Hitomi, this wouldn't have happened. Try playing Achi's story up to 10th, okay, to make a choice. Okay. So we got to get that dude to do a different thing, so this guy doesn't do that. Okay. Okay, you can now select Achi Endo, one of the other protags. Let's follow Achi's story for a little while. Oh, wow. I mean, I wanted to see if I could go back and pick the A choice. You know, where we decided to approach the first guy that walked up to Hitomi. But I guess we gotta spend some time with Achi first. Just give me 1 second to check on something real quick. Okay, back. Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure that really warranted a resignation unless he felt that ashamed of not actually catching the culprit. I mean, look, there was nothing he could do. You know, he was in the middle of an interrogation while the other detectives were at work. I mean, they still kept the guy who doused himself in fucking gasoline on the payroll. I don't see how this isn't much bigger of a transgression. Anyway, yeah, I'm probably gonna need to hydrate my throat a lot. Okay, let's see what Achi is up to. See, I never dress myself that dramatically. Achiendo called out at the door to his father's room. Okay, I'm heading out. Sure. His father sounded unconcerned. He didn't even open the door. Sure you don't want me to stay here in the shop? It's not like we're gonna get any customers. Achi grimaced. Wait, who's... Okay, I need to... Not like we're gonna get any customers. Hold on. Okay, yeah, I guess not. The drawer by the front door held a stack of heavy-duty trash bags. Achi pulled a few of them out. Guess it's gonna be that kind of day. He stuffed the trash bags into his pocket and slipped on his favorite pair of sneakers. The entryway to Achi's home also led into the family shop. Various pieces of electronics were piled up like so much junk in the tiny retail space. The slightest bump brought the risk of an avalanche. Achi wove his way through the gaps in the appliances like a spelunker exploring a cave. From Shibuya Station, if you make your way past the 109 building, up through the Dogenzaka, you'll come across an old shopping district. Nestled in its outskirts is Endo Electronics, in the same place it's been for decades. Within its dimly lit interior, you'll find rows of wares all caked in dust. At a glance, you might as well assume the place was closed. A mom-and-pop place like Endo's couldn't compete with the big customer chains booming throughout Shibuya. So far, the store had remained in business thanks to the locals who appreciated that they made house calls to do repairs. But things weren't looking so good for the future. Achi, the eldest son and nominal successor to the business, had no interest whatsoever in working there. Achi stepped outside the shop and into the sunny morning air. The good weather lifted his spirits. Alrighty, time to do this! He unfurled one of the big garbage bags which caught the wind and fluttered like a cape. Then he slowly made his way toward Shibuya Station, scanning his surroundings all the while. Sheesh, this place is filthy. He paused to pick up a plastic bottle that had been tossed on the ground. Then, with a heavy sigh, he slipped the crushed receptacle into his trash bag. Good man, don't pollute. He'd been picking up trash around town like this for about 6 months now. It had gotten so the sort of garbage most people would hardly notice stood out to him like a sore thumb. Most days, he'd fill a trash bag to the top by the time he made it to his house in Dogenzaka to the train station. Today, he was halfway to the station when a woman's anxious voice caught his attention. I'm sorry. I'm in a bit of a hurry here. He looked up and saw a timid-looking woman being confronted by 2 men, one with brown hair, one with black. From the look of them, he guessed that the men were scouts for some hostess club. He ran into this sort of thing pretty frequently on his trash-cleaning walks around town. Another kind of trash to take care of. Achi quickly interposed himself between the girl and the 2 recruiters. Hey, can't you see that you're bothering her? Huh? Who the hell are you? The 2 men glared. Take a hike, pal. Achi stood his ground. Look, she ain't interested. You're just gonna have to find some other mark. The hustler's annoyance turned to open rage. Well, listen to you. Got a bit of a mouth, huh, buddy? The brown-haired thug smacked his lips around his chewing gum like a dog worrying a bone. How about we take this someplace more quiet, yeah? What this means can depend on the person speaking. To a young woman, let's go someplace more quiet might suggest a cafe or a park, but to a street punk it might mean an alley where passerbys are unlikely to interrupt. The girl stood by uneasily, watching the goings-on. Hey, take it easy. I'm not looking for trouble. Is that supposed to be an apology? On your knees, pal, and beg. The man spat his gum onto the ground. Achi looked down at the glistening wad of gum on the sidewalk. ABC gum, my favorite. His last shred of goodwill vanished. You better pick that up. Right now. What? Didn't you hear me? Because I told you to get down on your knees and... Okay. Achi's hand shot out, grabbing the man by the jaw. Whoa, easy, pal. The other man's bravado drained from his face. Achi tightened his grip on the brown-haired hustler's jaw. Sweat dripped from the man's reddening brow. The man struggled, but Achi just tightened his grip. Gum's a real pain in the ass to clean up after it's gotten stuck to the street, you know. Ever stop to consider that? Wait, are you... The other hustler's panicked eyes had fixed on Achi's chest. Ah! Oh, crap. That shirt, man. The guy's voice was starting to break. That's mean clean! A guy with a mean clean shirt carrying around a trash bag? That means you're... His face went pale. What is he? Gah? Mean clean? The other man echoed his words through his held-shut jaws, tears welling up in his eyes. Get it right, pal. Achi clenched the man's jaw harder still. It's mean clean. Ow, 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 ow. We're sorry, man. You're Achi, right? Dude, we honestly had no idea. Come on, man, you gotta cut us some slack. The man scrambled to snatch the wad of gum off the street, stuffing it into his pants pocket. Finally, Achi let go of his companion. The brown-haired hustler's face was twisted up with fear. Tears streamed down his cheeks. Gasping out hasty apologies, the two thugs scampered off. Hey, so... A shy smile came to the girl's face. Do we know what a girl is? Do I know what a girl is? Okay. This was an actual person. Ryoko Kakinuma, a second-year student at Midoriyama Academy Law School. The hustlers managed to corner her while she was on her way to her part-time job as a cafe. It's a popular hotspot in trashy e-novels for the main character to fall in love with a hustler like these guys, but such things rarely happen in real life, I am sure. Thank you for saving me. No, I apologize. Huh? The girl stared in surprise. You'll run into creeps like that every now and then, but don't hold it against us. Shibuya's a good town. Yeah, okay. Achi gave her a quick wave, then turned and continued on his way down Dogenzaka. Yeah, we got fucking Captain Planet here saving the day. Achi was Shibuya born and raised. He was keenly aware of all the changes the ward had seen since he was a kid. Grocer stalls and inconspicuous little side streets, tiny parks nestled between buildings. Achi knew it all like the back of his hand. Trash, human or otherwise, had no place in this town. Not on his watch. Achi made his way down toward Shibuya Station. Throngs of people shuffled to and fro across the Scramble. The view shifted constantly from one moment to the next, almost as if the city itself were alive. And if the city was a living thing, then Shibuya Station was its heart. With streets like Bunkamuradori and Center Gai serving as the arteries, pumping a bloodstream made of people. That's actually pretty poetic, I think. Today as ever, the heart was pumping that blood to every nook and cranny of Shibuya. And there was Achi, just another part of this great urban organism. You know, I can respect that. I myself am an urbanist. Guess I'm one of the city's white blood cells. Or wait, maybe I'm the red blood cell? Hold on. No, you're one of the platelets, buddy. Is that right? Or did I have it right the first time? White blood cells eliminate pathogens from the bloodstream. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. Achi was probably thinking of white blood cells. Emerging from his reverie, he noticed a rather conspicuous young woman standing by the statue, rather, of Hachiko outside Shibuya Station. Oh, okay, I see what happened. She probably accidentally did a pollution. This is starting to make sense now. Totally my type. To be up someone's alley, to be someone's cup of tea. To be the apple of someone's eye, to be the gin in someone's vermouth. Yeah, that. Wonder if she's a model or a small-time actress or something. Looks like she's waiting for someone. Probably another guy. Dang. Good looking as she was, there was no way she wasn't already taken. What kind of guy scored a girl like that? Probably the rich-ass CEO of an IT company or something. Crouching down to tie off the trash bag, he continued gazing wistfully at the girl. Then he noticed something peculiar. She was carrying an attaché case, the kind a businessman might use. It was a large case and apparently so heavy that she was struggling to hold it despite using both hands. Okay, now we've got the next decision point. Okay, let's not have Achi not approach Hitomi. Okay. So they're kind of corralling us into doing, into not getting us, ground pounded by the cops. So it looks like we're going to dump off our trash first. But first, I gotta dump this trash. He looked around to see if there was a garbage bin nearby. Okay, now Achi won't approach Hitomi, which means he will avoid being arrested by Kano. At the same time, Kano's fate will also change, and he will no longer wind up at a bad end, so let's switch back to Kano's story. Using the time chart, press F2. Which one's F2? No, that's... Come on. Okay, that's F2. Okay, time chart. It shows the protagonist's progression throughout the story. Decision points are marked with, those arrows. Kano's fate has been changed based on Achi's actions. Select Kano's 1030 block, then press space. Okay, I see what we're doing here. I see. Alright. Actually, that's pretty neat. I suppose you could call it that. Kano gave a wry chuckle at his partner's lack of shame. There he is! Kuze's voice tripped suddenly through Kano's earpiece. Again. The man in the black coat. He's not Japanese. Looked like to be in his early 30s. Yeah, blame the Caucasian, why don't you? Previously, Achi got mixed up with Kano and the police, but now... another man has appeared instead by changing what Achi did. You've also changed Kano's story. A foreign man had emerged from the crowd about 15 feet from where Hitomi was, standing. He made his way toward her, his expression blank. He didn't match the description Hitomi had given him, but Kano felt a jolt of nerves all the same. Wait a minute. Doesn't he kinda sorta look like Danilo Diaz from Joy Mash? I'm sorry. I don't know. You just said that angle, you kinda a little bit of him in the face. Maybe the kidnapper was using an accomplice to snatch the random payment. Alright. Sasayama raised an eyebrow. This may be our guy. This was it. Kano swallowed the lump in his throat. He bent his knees, ready for action. Blood rushed to his leg muscles, banishing the stiffness that had begun to take hold. God, he's gargantuan. Was this the culprit? Or perhaps... The stranger took hold of the attaché case. It was him! En masse, the detectives began to close in. Let's go, Kano! On it! Sasayama and Kano leapt into action, but they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man veered suddenly, running right toward them. we're cock-blocked now! Damn. Kano's story has suddenly hit a keep-out. Keep-out refers to a point in the story where your progress is currently stopped. In order to advance beyond the keep-out, you need to jump from another protagonist's story. At 10:30, Achi has the text, "Young man in a suit set to red keywords." Set as red keywords. Checking these red keywords will allow you to jump from Achi's story back to Kano's. Now, head back to Achi's story and keep an eye out for that key phrase. Okay, try following the story from Achi at 10:30. Okay, so we're going to switch back, and we're going to approach. Alright. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go ahead and try to be a good civilian. Hold on. Wait, we just dumped the trash. Did I need to go a bit? Huh? A man had come up beside the girl. Okay, he was dressed in black and he wasn't Japanese. It looked like they were having a conversation. The girl nodded tensely at something the man said. Achi stared. Something tells me that that's not her boyfriend. No, he looks too much like an incel for that to be. The girl handed the attaché case over to the man. He took hold of it with his right hand and began walking briskly away. Whoa! A nearby homeless man suddenly leapt over Achi and broke into a run as if he'd been waiting for this very moment. Homeless man, Yuji Sasayama, a detective with the Shibuya precinct known as the cosplay detective due to the strange outfits he wears while on stakeouts. He probably dresses like a bush when they're catching guys on the To Catch a Predator show. He's partnered with Shinya Kano for the kidnapping investigation. Sprinting alongside him was a young man in a suit. Okay, read important keywords that let you jump between different pro tags. Stories allow you to shift between characters at specific points. These can allow you to clear out a keep out in another character's story and let you read on if you come across red tusks. I get it, 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 I get it. Whoosh. Okay, by performing a jump from the screen, you can advance another protagonist's story past a keep out. Okay, press space to confirm jump over to Kano's story. I guess we're doing that now. Okay, we've just done the time warp again. Let's go, Kano. On it. Sasayama and Kano leapt into action. Alright, woo, we did it. Yippee. Okay, eat the cherry-flavored keywords. Got it. I understand. Alright. Okay, F2, F1, alright. But they never expected what happened next. With the case clutched in both arms, the man suddenly veered, running right toward them. What? Catching sight of the two detectives, the suspect staggered to a halt and bolted off in a new direction. Kano whipped off his costume glasses and followed in hot pursuit. At the crosswalk, signal changed to red and the flow of foot traffic abruptly halted. Just as quickly, hundreds of cars all lurched back into motion. There was no escape for the culprit now, or so it appeared. The converging cops slowed their pace, confident that their man was cornered. Then the foreigner barreled straight into the intersection, dodging between the oncoming cars without any hesitation. The mob of detectives came to a halt, not eager to rush to their deaths along with him. Kano, however, remained in hot pursuit, charging into the traffic at the crossing. Kano, are you crazy? Come back! Kano heard Sasayama shouting, but his feet kept carrying him onward. I mean, this is basically what it's like for your typical American pedestrian, so this doesn't seem all that crazy to me. With shouts and sirens echoing all about him, Kano closed in on the foreigner. Just a little closer, and he'd be in tackling range. He leaned forward, preparing to pounce, his eyes fixed on the culprit's feet. It was now or never. Kano, back off! Don't take him down! It was Kuze shouting through Kano's earpiece. Huh? Kano hesitated in surprise. Had he really just been ordered to not apprehend the criminal? Let him go for now. The real perp is somewhere else. Perp is jargon, police jargon for perpetrator. Here, Kuze is referring to the fact that the principal offender in the case must be elsewhere. Okay. What had happened to the plan? He'd been told that all personnel were to secure the area ASAP. Didn't HQ want them to catch the perpetrator? Arrest team, stay on the foreigner's trail. Okay, police team dedicated exclusively to the task of apprehending the criminal while a kidnapping case is in progress. The roles of the officers involved are carefully designated so that every officer is ready to take immediate action as the situation develops. Typically, tired and true veteran MPD officers are put in charge of teams for breaking into buildings or apprehending the suspect. Forensics team, get busy cross-referencing photos. Team deployed by the MPD to handle the actual tasks and techniques of on-scene investigation, such as collecting and comparing fingerprints and analyzing photos of suspects. Okay, even if this foreigner was only an underling hired for this one task, the police had now tipped their hand that they'd been lying in wait. If they didn't lock things down now and get more info on the kidnapper, a girl's life might be at stake. Kano recalled another maxim from his Dick diary. Dictum 12. Always assume a worst-case scenario. If Kuze had told him to let this guy go, that was implied that he was counting on the team that was now in position. But if the crook had planned a way to break through the police dragnet and escape with the ransom and he succeeded, what was the right call here? Should he take this guy down or back off after all? Let's see, letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP, or let the other officers chase after the guy. Kano had his own job to do. Well, you know what? We've been waiting this long. It's been an hour. Let's fuck him up. Letting the perp escape now is too big of a risk. He had to catch this guy ASAP. The man darted down a narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. Eep, someone's taken Hitomi! Kano recognizes Kuze's trademark squawk immediately. Subject is male. He appears to be carrying a gun. He's fleeing in the direction of Meiji Dori. What? Kano could hardly believe it. Hitomi had been kidnapped? Had she been abducted by whoever taken Maria? But why? Someone must have been waiting for the moment when the police took their eyes off her. Something's very wrong here. What in the world is going on? Kano saw that the road forked up ahead. The man with the attaché case ran to the left. If the man who'd taken Hitomi was heading toward Meiji Dori, there was a good chance he'd gone down one of the alleyways off to the right. Making a snap judgment, Kano told the detective behind him to follow the case snatcher, then turned and headed down the nearest alley. After darting through the side streets, he spotted a different man, another foreigner, crossing an intersection a few dozen meters ahead. The man was dressed in black, just like the guy who'd grabbed the ransom money. Kuze's right, the kidnapper wasn't acting alone. But wait, something was amiss. Hitomi isn't with him. Where was she? Kano skittled about the corner, then stopped short. The man in black was standing there, pointing a gun right at him. Before Kano would react, the man fired. Ooh, what you say? If you didn't know me now, but you know you did. Ooh, what you say? Kano felt hot all over as if he were on fire. All except for his cheek pressed against the asphalt and the palms of his hands. They felt so cold. There was nothing he could do. Nothing, that is, except lie there and watch as his killer turned and walked away. And that's a bad end. Shot by a foreigner. Oh boy, that's a... that's a phrase that could have some, unfortunate animus in certain circles. By trying to find the man who'd taken Hitomi, Kano ran into a different criminal, and unfortunately for him, he got shot. If the criminal hadn't been able to get near Hitomi, she probably wouldn't have been taken. Have Achi make the choice to talk to Hitomi instead at 10:35. Let's see. Well, wait. Wait, we got... Okay, so talking to her is what... Or attempting to talk to her is what got us busted in the first place. Oh well, let's see how this goes. Okay, a nearby homeless man broke into the run. We've read this already. Young man in a suit. And seemingly from everywhere, a whole bunch of other guys burst into motion. First one, then another. A third, a fourth, a fifth. Over a dozen now. What the heck? Clearly something big was going down. Were they after the attaché case? Within moments, Ache lost sight of them all and throughout the crowd. With that many people chasing him, the guy with the case was sure to get caught. But wait, what about that girl? Achi turned back around. The girl was still there. Okay. So maybe the Good Samaritan act is actually going to pay off now. She was staring in the direction that the man who had taken the case had gone, a worried expression on her face. Achi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Maybe he should talk to her and ask what was going on. Well, I mean, the detectives ran off. Achi couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. Okay, let's have a little chit-chat. But just as he was making up his mind, a middle-aged man in a ratty business suit shuffled awkwardly over to her first. Was there something wrong with one of his legs? He was using a cane to walk. Then one of his hands slipped into his jacket pocket. Achi could scarcely believe his eyes. A revolver? That's my favorite Beatles album. Okay, Colt Detective Special, a .38 caliber revolver introduced in 1927 by Colt's Manufacturing Company, a classic example of a snub-nosed revolver. As the name implies, the weapon is frequently carried by detectives, narcotics officers, and the like for self-defense. That's a revolver. Revolver. With a single fluid motion, the man lifted up the gun and pointed it in the girl's direction. He was aiming right for her head. Huh? The girl had noticed the man with the cane now. Seeing the gun pointed right at her, she froze in fear. Achi didn't hesitate. Breaking into a full run, he tackled the gunman with all his might. Caught off guard. Typo. Caught off guard. The man sprawled to the pavement. But the would-be assassin kept hold of his weapon and quickly scrambled back to his feet. Achi knew he had to act fast. He grabbed the ashen-faced girl by the arm and attempted to drag her away. Oh no. Is this another misunderstanding? This way, he shouted. She just stared at him, uncomprehending, trembling like a startled animal. Come on! Run! Finally, the girl snapped out of her daze and gave a fearful nod. Okay. The police box, let's go, or let's just get out of here. I have a feeling if I go to the police box now, that dude's gonna bust a cap on us. Because we might not run away far enough. But maybe we could just scram. Let's just get out of here. The would-be assassin was getting back to his feet. See, I thought so. Achi grabbed the girl by the hand. Run! Without so much as a backward glance, he led her beneath the railway overpass for the Yamanote line. They needed to get as far away as possible, fast. Their best bet was to head toward the east side of the station. It was less crowded there. It would be easier to run. Don't worry, you can trust me. Dragging the hesitant girl behind him, he took off through the crowd. Suddenly it dawned on him that he still held the trash bag in his other hand. You know, this thing's gonna be a real pain in my ass. Achi paused just long enough to toss the trash into a garbage bin, just as they passed by the park, then took off again. Someone shouted from behind, "Stop right there!" Achi looked back in alarm to see a stranger charging after them. It was one of the guys from the crowd who had run after the attaché case snatcher. You gotta be kidding me, now he's chasing us? Whoever he was young and fit and gaining fast. Realizing the girl could never outrun this guy, Achi stopped abruptly. Shielding her behind him, he turned to face the stranger. Why did you run off? Because you were chasing us. The other fellow eyed Achi skeptically. Maybe he was a buddy of the man with the cane? Keeping his guard up, Achi began to back away. Look, just let the girl go. The guy was acting like he knew her. Achi glanced back, but the girl only shook her head wide-eyed. The other man's posture shifted to preparing to lunge, but as Achi braced himself for a scuffle, something came crashing down upon the stranger's head. Ugh! His eyes wobbled and spun in their sockets, and he collapsed in a heap on the ground. And there, standing behind him... Oh, it was the girl we helped out earlier. The one he'd saved from the hustlers. Well, this is getting convoluted, I think. Hey, you're that girl from this morning. Are you okay? Next to the falling pursuer's form was a rather thick book. She nodded towards it. He looked dangerous, so I just threw it at him. Oh yeah, thank you. This saves my bacon big time. It's the least I could offer. It's the least I could do after the way you helped me earlier. Sure thing. You should probably get out of here before that guy comes to. Like you said, he's probably dangerous. Right. Achi scooped up the heavy book and handed it to the girl, who promptly left the scene. Now we better get out of here. The girl nodded. They started down the street, only to see the man with a cane around the corner a few dozen meters ahead. Ugh, this is not good. The assassin had spotted them, and he hurried in their direction. This way! Achi led the girl into a nearby alleyway. But this way's a dead end, the girl said breathlessly. Like I said, just trust me. Stopping abruptly, Achi kicked down a wooden plank covering a gap between two buildings, clearing a space that a person could fit through. See? We can get away through here. In you go! But the girl just stood there, looking terrified. What's the matter? Achi asked. Come on, we gotta hurry. But I... She looked at him as if he, too, was about to pull a gun on her. He could hardly blame her. After all, he was just some random guy who had turned up out of nowhere. But this was no time for dawdling. The man with the cane appeared at the end of the alley. If they just stood there, he was going to catch them. Okay, sweetheart, hear me out, he said in a rush. The name's Achi Endo. I live in the neighborhood, and I'm not the kind to stand idly by when a girl is being chased by some killer. So please, just trust me, and I'll do my best to keep you safe. He hoped the look in his eyes could convince her he was being on the level. After a painfully long moment, the girl nodded her acceptance. Phew. Right, let's start with this. They had paused beside an enormous stack of beverage crates. With a quick shove, Achi knocked the whole pile down, sending it cascading across their pursuer's path. Now that was a close call. The man with the cane was floundering, struggling to get past the fallen crates. My bad, man, Achi called out. Mind cleaning that up for me? The man scowled back at them and fumbled for his gun. Achi flashed him a wave goodbye, then slipped away between the buildings with the girl. Oh, that's an interesting name for a business log lady. Hurrying down a narrow alley, they emerged onto a side street lined with dive bars and clubs. Assuming the man with the cane hadn't given up, he would probably lie in wait on the path back up to the main road. Achi decided that their best bet was to try and stay inconspicuous rather than risk getting caught on the move. Guess we can lie low here for a bit, he said. He led the girl to the entrance of a tiny old hostess club. She followed him reluctantly. Achi flicked the switch from inside the front door, and the Shitsny chandelier glowed to life. What's a Shitsny or Chintzy? Not sure how to pronounce that. He sat the girl down on the small sofa beside the counter. She gave him a worried look. Achi felt a pang of embarrassment as he realized what she must be thinking. Oh no, don't get the wrong idea. I'm not going to try any funny business. Someone I know used to run this place. It's not in business anymore, so I figure we're safe here. The girl chuckled at this evident discomfort. All right then, she said. So, we good? We're good. Okay, well, good. Achi made a vague attempt to straighten his disheveled clothes. So how about some introductions? I'm Achi Endo, like, I said earlier. You can just call me Achi. I'm Atomi Osawa. You can call me Atomi, I guess. With each new word out of Atomi's mouth, Achi felt his heart sing. She was charming, personable. Just about everything about her was captivating. Achi had never met another girl like her. Achi? Buh? Is something the matter? You were spacing out there for a bit. Achi shook his head to dispel his daze. Damn it, this is no time to get all starry-eyed. He needed to think of some way to keep her safe from the guy who was after her. Look, can you tell me what the heck is going on? Please, I need to know if I'm going to help you. Right, okay. I'm not really sure where to begin. Hitomi looked down, lost in thought. Apparently hers was a long story. Alright, she said at last. I guess I'll just explain things as they happened. Wait, hold up. Could you keep it as simple as you can? I'm kind of stupid. I mean, I'm not really the sharpest tool in the shed, I called that one. Complicated explanations aren't exactly my strong suit. Okay, Hitomi chuckled. I'll try my best. She got comfortable and then she started her story. So, last night, somebody abducted my sister. The kidnapper demanded that I make a ransom handoff personally. He told me to stand by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya at 10 o'clock in the morning to make the exchange. So I did. And this man came by and took... Well, wait, hold on. The thing jumped forward. I didn't... How do I go back? Okay. So last night, somebody abducted my sister. The kidnapper demanded that I make the handsome handoff personally. He told me to stand by the statue of Hachiko in Shibuya at 10 o'clock in the morning to make the exchange, so I did, and this man came by and took the attaché case with the money, and then afterwards the other guy with the cane turned out and pointed the gun at me, and... Alright. Whoa, I'm sorry, hold up a sec. Achi had suddenly lost the thread of the conversation. Okay, lost thread. At times like this, you can press up to go back and reread what you've already seen. You can also press down to scroll. Okay. Well, that's... I have that. Could you say that again, but, like, simpler? Huh? Oh, sure. I'm just having trouble following is all. I don't know. She was pretty direct about it the first time. I think this might be a you problem, my man. I mean, is this the plot to some movie or soap opera? Well, they're on the nose about this one. No, that's not. Or some kind of hidden camera show? This is real. This really happened. The look into Tomi's eyes was dead serious. She's got to be telling the truth. What would be the point of lying? And then he had seen the attaché case and the gunman himself. How much was the ransom, if you don't mind me asking? Hitomi hesitated. 50 million yen, she said after a moment. Achi gave a whistle of amazement. Imagine that whistle sound in your head, because I literally cannot whistle. The detective told me that this was a typical amount for a kidnapper to ask for. It's plenty, that's for sure. I guess there's good money in that sort of thing. As soon as the words came out, he realized his blunder. You've got all... you've got all the tact of a three-legged cow in a china shop. Ah, sorry, I shouldn't have put it that way. He fidgeted awkwardly, and Hitomi looked away. I'm an idiot, but okay, I think I get this kidnapping thing. So I'm guessing these guys who chased the guy who took the ransom were undercover cops? He replayed the scene in his head. But then, the kidnapper took the attaché case and ran, right? So if you were empty-handed, why'd that guy with the cane come after you? I'm honestly not sure. Hitomi's words trailed off. This was clearly difficult for her to talk about. Anyway, we should probably get to the police as soon as we... No, we can't do that. Hitomi's tone was resolute. I can't take this to the police. Why not? Achi waited for an answer, but none came. After a long and awkward silence, she stood up from her seat. I really appreciate the help, but I should go now. She gave Achi a deep bow. Nuh-uh, hold on. What do you mean, go? Go where? He hurried to intervene as she headed for the door. I don't want to cause you any more trouble. I'll figure the rest out on my own. Somehow. Hey, I said hold on! Hitomi ignored him and opened the door, and their argument came to an abrupt halt. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is, Standing there was the man with the cane, his revolver in his hand. To be continued. Alright, so this is probably going to give us a different prompt now. Achi Endo's 10 o'clock story ends here. However, Kano's story is still stuck at a bad end. This is due to one of Achi's decisions. Go back to Achi's decision point at 10:35 and change the choice he makes in order to... Okay. Someone else while his own story remains resolved. Get it, getting all the characters. Go back and change choices for the characters that have already made it through. Story. Alright. Okay, let me take another sip and just give me one moment and we'll resume things. Oi, 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 oi. Alright. Okay. Switch back over to Kano. We're trailing the foreigner. The man darted down a narrow alleyway. Kano ran faster. The man sprinted through the side streets. Evidently, he knew his way around Shibuya pretty well. Noticed two people over by a trash pile. At first, they appeared to be a young couple. Then, looking more closely, he realized that the girl was Hitomi. Mr. Kuze, I have located Hitomi Asawa. The couple took off running, the rough-looking guy dragging Hitomi by the hand. She's with a man in his 20s. It looks like she's being led away against her will. Clarify, please, Kuze demanded. What's going on? I'm not sure. Was this the guy a member of some criminal group? It looked like the two were running away from something. Alright, well, we'll handle the foreigner. You go after Hitomi. Got it. Kano sprang into action. Stop right there! The young man glanced back at Kano. Rather than stopping, he picked up speed, continuing to drag Hitomi along with him. She didn't seem quite able to keep up. Kano knew he could catch them. He tried to close the distance in a sprint. After a short distance, the young man stopped, realizing he couldn't outrun his pursuer. Okay, now we got our standoff. Shielding Hitomi behind him, he glowered at Kano. "Why did you run off?" Kano demanded. "Because you were chasing us." A blatant lie. People didn't just bolt like that without good reason. The young tough started edging away, keeping Hitomi behind him. Kano followed. "Look, just let the girl go." The guy glanced back at Hitomi. She shook her head fearfully. Maybe this troublemaker warned her to keep her mouth shut? "You've got this, Kano. Just don't let them out of your sight." Ugh! A sudden blow to the top of his head left him staggering. His eyes spun as he reeled with vertigo. There was a flapping sound and a vague black shape wheeled above him. Was that a crow? That's a... Yeah, that looks exactly like a crow, dude. It was the last thing Kano saw before his vision went dark. Oh, so that was his bad end. Was that a crow? Okay, in the midst of chasing the man who snatched the attaché case, Kano happened across Hitomi and Achi while confronting them. He suffered a blow to the head and was knocked out cold. But Achi only came this way because he thought it was the quickest way to escape with Hitomi. If he had gone for the police box instead, things might have gone differently. The key is what Achi does at 10:30. Okay, so we're going to switch up. Let's go back to 10:30. Alright. The police box, let's go! Still pulling the girl by the hand, Achi headed for the police box outside the train station. But it was empty. Because they're all chasing other dudes. There were always policemen staffing these things. Why did it have to be unmanned now? Achi flashed a worried glance behind him and saw the assassin in pursuit like a man possessed. Yikes. This is not good. There was nothing they could do but run. With the frightened girl in tow, Achi ran behind the JR Yamanote Line railway overpass. "Don't worry, just trust me," he told her. But first... They sped past a convenience store where an employee was cleaning up the sidewalk. "Here, take this, will ya?" Achi tossed over the bag of trash. "Huh? Wait, This way!" They slipped through the crowd and into a nearby back alley. "But this way's a dead end," the girl said, breathlessly. "Like I said, just trust me." "Okay, we're doing this again." So abruptly, there's the wooden plank. She's having a sad. Time for dawdling. Okay. Let's see if I can speed this up at all. Okay, I'm just... Well, maybe they told me how to do it already, but I'm just gonna smash the space bar. Hit space to win. I don't know, maybe something else will pop up. Okay, we did that. Did that already. Okay, that's the to be continued. I think I might have to go back a little further. Okay. The man knew his way around Shibuya. Okay, the man shot up onto a major thoroughfare, then bolted up a pedestrian bridge. Now, just where the heck was this guy heading? Halfway across the bridge, the man stopped abruptly. Cautious Kano stopped as well. Oh, he's in a good mood. Height, roughly 190 centimeters. Age, 30s. Hair, dark brown. Clothing, all black. A moment later, the man flashed a triumphant sneer as he held up the attaché case. Before Kano could even yell, "Stop!" it was already too late. The man threw the attaché case down to the roadway below. No! Panicking, Kano peered over the railing. A man on a motorcycle was waiting beneath the bridge. "I've been had." Kano bit his lip hard. "Damn it!" Kano sprinted back down the bridge, hearing the bike's engine roar to life. He had to make it in time. Descending the stairs, 4 at a time, he leapt toward the roadway, but the bike sped out of reach, and roared away in the direction of Yoyogi, leaving Kano in its dust. Looking back up over the overpass, he saw the man who'd thrown the attaché case running away. He handed the money off to someone else! He's currently on a motorcycle, heading towards Yoyogi! His report to Kuze complete, Kano slumped down in dismay. The cops had played right into the criminal's hands. Now the crooks were getting away and people's lives were in danger. Was there any greater failure for a policeman? I can think of a few. Staring off into the distance where the man who had thrown the case had disappeared, Kano gritted his teeth. And that's another to be continued. He finished reading both character stories for the hour of 10 a.m. In 4:28, you'll make your way through all the protag stories in parallel like this. Once everyone has reached the end of a given hour, the next hour can begin. Yeah, we gotta... Okay, can we drop the pleasantries? So this is a waste of time. That work for you? It's like totally bogus. Now the dude with the afro, he's the story. His is the story I think I'll probably care about. Yeah, I'm guessing that was kind of our prologue. Okay, this is the end of the tutorial for this part. Yeah, that was, basically the simple stuff. Reread previous messages. There's a lot of important in there, so read closely. 4:20 has reached 11 a.m. on the time block. You have 5 protagonists available. Okay, whose story will reread first? Hold on, let me answer a test real quick. I just got a message real quick. Okay, back. Well, where do we go now? Let's take a look at some of our other characters. We've got Minorikawa. We've got Osawa. And we've got we got a mascot, Tama. How about this? We'll start with you first. You seem, good to go. The Super Club 90 racing down Route 246 toward Shibuya. A motorcycle produced by Honda with an 85cc engine displacement, a common sight around town, often used by newspaper and postal delivery workers. Many owners are big enthusiasts, sometimes even swapping out parts such as the handlebars or mufflers and giving the body a repaint, resulting in a fashionable bike that doesn't even look like Super Clubs at first glance. Okay. Oh, we got a biker. The speedometer remained at a steady 60 kilometers per hour. Pumping the gas harder was no use. This was as fast as the bike would go. Minoru Minorikawa shouted as he sped along. "Damn it! I am not letting you die!" He jerked the handlebars and blew out past a truck on the inside. The driver scowled at him as he shot by. "You maniac! You trying to get yourself killed?" "Just the opposite," Minorikawa shouted back. "I'm saving lives!" The stoplight ahead turned red, cutting him off at the intersection. "Oh, come on!" He had no choice but to slam on the brakes, but his agitation boiled over as he waited for the signal to change again. How long is this thing gonna stay red? Hurry up already! He brought the bike right up to the very edge of the line, keeping the engine revved like a dragster ready to peel out. Not on time is not on my dictionary. The light turned red. Then Minorikawa's own light turned green at last. He hit the accelerator as hard as he could. His engine died with a sputter. Huh? Oh, come on! What the hell? Car horns blared angrily behind him. In a fury, he pulled his bike over to the side of the road. That's embarrassing. No matter what he did, the engine refused to turn over. Was the problem with the spark plug or maybe the battery? Whatever it was, he didn't have time to figure it out now. With tears in his eyes, he left his bike, his companion of 10 years, abandoned on the roadside. This is the saddest anime ending ever. He was about to break into a run when he saw a taxi dead ahead letting out a passenger. He hurried to hop into the cab. "Just head for Shibuya Station. I'll let you know exactly once we get closer." The taxi driver nodded coolly. "Of course, sir." 10 minutes! I need you to get me there in 10 minutes. The driver grimaced. "I'm afraid getting there in 10 minutes is a bit... 15 then! Sir, that's still... Look, that's all the time I can afford. Assuming traffic conditions cooperate, sir, then maybe. I can't make any promises." Minorikawa looked at the driver's ID photo above the fare meter. His name was Hachiro Kimizuka. He was a middle-aged fellow, looked a little rough around the edges. "Mr. Kimizuka, I choose you for this. You can do it." "Choose me?" "Sir, I'm pretty certain we met by chance." "Okay, sure. I suppose you could phrase it that way." "Anyhow, can we get going?" "Right," Kimizuka said, with a faint sigh. "I'll see what I can do." The taxi pulled away at a decent clip. Yeah, I'm guessing this is the era before ride-sharing apps. Minorikawa's frantic journey had started 20 minutes earlier. He'd been at home, working on an interview piece. Yeah, that's an old-ass phone. He clucked his tongue in annoyance at the ringing phone and broke his train of thought. Why did someone always call right when the words were flowing? If he didn't keep getting interrupted, he could probably wrap up this piece in no time. "Be quiet!" He pointed at the telephone as he yelled. "I'm writing here!" But his shouting did nothing to silence the ringing. He didn't have much choice but to pick up. Minorikawa speaking. There was no response. "Hello?" He hesitated, ready to hang up. Was this a prank call? "It's me. It's Toyama. It was Teru Toyama, the president of Heaven Publishing. Sounds heavenly. a publishing company that puts out both hard-hitting nonfiction books and tabloid-style scandal rags. The Invincible Journalist was penned by company president Toyama himself. Was a candidate for the Japan Nonfiction Prize. Wait, the Invisible Journalist penned by... I don't know. Okay, I got it. Oh, what do you want? If this is about work, I'm already pretty booked full. He'd taken work from Heaven Publishing on several occasions, but the pay was hardly competitive. Lately, he'd been turning them down a lot, so he hadn't heard from Toyama in a while. No, this isn't work-related. Then what do you want? I'm kind of pressed for time here, working on some copy. Minorikawa was in no mood to beat around the bush. It seemed like every conversation he had with Toyama went like this. Ah, you're busy. That's good. Busy's good when you're a freelancer. Toyama sounded unusually sympathetic. Minorikawa found it off-putting. I hear sales have been good on your end, he said cautiously. Well, this month's 4-Star General Gossip and all. 4-Star General Gossip was a monthly magazine, Heaven Publishing's flagship publication. Okay, a magazine focusing on the private lives of celebrities and politicians. Most of the articles found in its pages are random nonsense, but one of every 100 or so contains an actual major scoop, making it a difficult outlet to ignore. Well, a broken clock, you know what they say. It had a small circulation and for the most part flew under the radar, but once in a while they'd land some big scoop and sell like crazy. This month's edition had come with a free scratch card, a gimmick that had moved 100,000 copies with ease. A scratch card for what, like the lottery? 5 winning symbols in a row wins 100,000 yen, was it? Minorikawa asked. A weak, moist sound came through the receiver. Baffled, Minorikawa listened more closely. It came again. Then again. It kind of sounded like sobbing. Mr. Toyama, are you crying? There was another soft sob, and yet another. What's going on? Where are you? Minorikawa asked. At the office, Toyama managed. He let out another mewling whimper. What's the matter? It's nothing. Well, it's gotta be something. Come on, what is it? Toyama gave no reply. Mr. Toyama, you still there? Silence. What is it? What happened? Look. Doesn't tell me anything. What the hell is going on? Toyama squeaked out a drawn-out whine. Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm hanging up now. Minorikawa was about to break the connection when he heard Toyama murmur. The only thing I can do now is die. The taxi lurched to a sudden stop as the driver slammed on the brakes. Minorikawa pitched forward, his face smacking against the back of the seat in front of him. Kimizuka stuck his head out the window. Careful, buddy, he shouted in the street ahead. You're gonna get yourself killed. That's probably Kano. And we just had to slam the brakes for. Minorikawa blinked the stars from his eyes and saw a man moving alongside the cab. The guy grabbed onto the handle of the back door. Please, I need you to let me have this cab. No way, Minorikawa snapped. Just who did this guy think he was? Please, I'm begging you here. Look, I'm in a hurry, pal. Get your own cab. I know how ridiculous this must sound, but please. This is really, really urgent. Urgent? Yes, it is a matter of life or death. Please. The guy did look pretty desperate. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm dealing with something urgent here, too. Then let me ride with you. I'll pay for the whole fare. My entire future's on the line here. The guy sure was persistent. Maybe he was telling the truth. But Minorikawa had problems of his own. Sorry, buddy. It's life or death on my end, too. I gotta look after me and mine. Right. So sorry to trouble you. Finally, the guy gave up and shuffled away. Guess it couldn't have been that much of a life-threatening, life-ending crisis after all. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. Damn it! That just cost us 5 minutes. I'll try to make up for it, sir, the driver called back. The taxi lurched into motion, the engine quickly revving up. Well, I missed a little bit there, but... Oh, okay. Once inside the building, he avoided the elevator in favor of rushing up the stairs. Heaven Publishing renting out the 3rd and 4th floors. In all likelihood, Toyama would be at the editing department of 4-Star General Gossip on the 4th floor. When he got there, however, the door was locked. "Mr. Toyama! Hey, Mr. Toyama!" He shouted and banged, but there was no reply. Something was seriously wrong. Minorikawa took in a deep breath and then kicked the door in. Whoa! The sight as he stepped into the office filled him with horror. Minorikawa clutched the sides of his head. I'm too late. Oh, so that's where Doki Doki got it from. Oh no, if only I'd gotten here a little sooner. Well, that's a bad end. Number 13, just 5 minutes. Minorikawa rushed to Heaven Publishing as fast as he could, but he didn't get there in time to save Toyama, and sad to say, it was really all Kano's fault. Why does Kano want a taxi so badly? Check his 11:10 timestamp and the situation might become. Well, he needs a taxi, because I think he needed to go after the dude who took off on the motorcycle. But I think before that, I do want to check out some of these other people real quick. Wealth, status, honor. None of these things mean anything to me. All I want is a peaceful life. To put worry behind me. To stay calm and serene. To be free of worldly concerns. Free at any cost. I don't know this song. A cheery rhythm pumped up from the CD player set up against the study wall. The only CD player I have is a secondhand PlayStation 2. It was the latest hit from Aya Kamiki, the songwriter sensation who was blowing up the pop charts. Yeah, I'm not a big pop music fan, unfortunately. Kenji Osawa reached for the stereo remote on his desktop. He ratcheted up the volume a little louder. Oh no, is he a simp? He looked like the sort of man who'd be more interested in classical music, but in fact he was a huge fan of the girl rock popular with middle schoolers. Well, let's give you a chance. Closing his eyes, he swayed back and forth in time with the music, humming his favorite lyrics under his breath, but his movements faltered. It's no use. Aya's voice usually soothes whatever ailed him, but today even she couldn't help. Today, Osawa was a complete wreck, in both body and mind. Okay, mounds of paperwork were scattered across the desktop in his study, all of it about viruses and vaccines. It had only been a week since he'd returned from a business trip to his company's branch office in the US, and he was slated to go back in another week's time. There was a truly staggering amount of work that he needed to get through while he was at home. He picked up one of the papers and glanced at it aimlessly, then tossed it back onto the desk. Slumping back in his chair, he let out a long, deep sigh. He was in no mental state to work right now. A faint knock at the door barely roused him from his torpor. "Director, may I come in?" It was his vice director, Mamoru Tanaka. "Sure, the door's open." I know how to pronounce Mamoru because of Sailor Moon. Okay, Tanaka came into the study. I know it's not a great time, but Osawa could barely make out his words. He tapped the remote, lowering the volume of the music. Tanaka continued apologetically. A call came in from the lab. They're hoping for a response to the email they sent yesterday. I'm sure they don't need it today. Apparently they do need an answer as soon as possible, sir. I did ask him to give you some more time, but... I see, Osawa said wearily. All right, then. Tanaka dipped his head slightly and slipped out of the room. Osawa contemplated his colleague. Tanaka was a man he could truly depend on. He has enough of his own work to do. He didn't need to come here again today, but he did. They'd been working in close concert ever since Osawa had gotten back to Japan. Without Tanaka's support, there was no way he would be in a mindset to do any work at all right now. Sidling up to his computer. I know sidling because I saw it in Steins Gate. Saw that word used in Steins Gate when I did that one on my own time. Osawa opened his email program and started answering the work-related messages. He reported on his business travel expenses, offered his opinions on capital investments, requested confirmation on current medicinal stockpiles. He worked with bleak detachment. None of this meant anything to him right now. Then, a new email appeared in his inbox. The sender was identified simply as... The subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. The message body was blank, but there appeared to be multiple images attached. Ordinarily, Osawa would have deleted a message like this immediately, assuming that it contained some kind of virus. But the word South Africa drew his attention. What did the Afrikaners do this time? Could this possibly be related to... He couldn't help but to wonder. For a long moment, he hovered the cursor over like one of the image files. At last, as if spurred on by upbeat rhythm in his ears, he double-clicked the mouse. What is this? The grainy photograph showed a large room with a dozen or so people laid out in beds. It appeared to be some sort of medical ward. Osawa felt a strange flutter in his chest. He quickly opened another image. This one showed a close-up of one of the patients in his bed. Large red splotches covered his face. A large volume of blood appeared to be dripping from his ears and nostrils. A cold shudder ran up Osawa's spine. What the hell? These symptoms. Osawa opened up the remaining image files. Each new picture showed another one of the patients. They all appeared to be teetering on the brink of death. There was no doubt about it. These people were infected with the UA virus. UA. I'm guessing I'm going to say it UA. Wait, I need to... Shit. Go back. Okay, the UA virus. The UA virus belongs to the family Filoviridae. Okay. Filoviridae. Genus Ualike virus. Virus. Okay, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. Is a member of the same family as the Ebola virus and causes UA virus fulminant hemorrhagic, that means bleeding, fever. It is capable of airborne transmission, although infected individual cannot pass the infection before symptoms manifest. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have assigned the virus to Risk Group 4, their classification for the most dangerous infectious agents. But how? Questions tumbled through Osawa's mind. His fingers tapped out a quick message. He doubted he'd get a response, but he might as well try. Who are you? Where are these images from? Pretty flower. The UA virus got its name from a Swahili word for flower. Supposedly, this was based on the fact that the propagated form of the virus resembled the petals of a flower. Despite the flowery name, however, the disease was anything but pretty. UA didn't just mean flower, it also meant to kill. And as the name suggested, the virus had a mortality rate of 100%. Because most details regarding the UA virus have been suppressed, cases of UA infection are largely unknown to the world at large. Because all patients known to be infected with the virus on official record have died within a short time frame, the mortality rate is given as 100%. As the incidence of known cases grows, the number may drop below 100%, but the mortality rate will likely remain extraordinarily high. Give me 1 second. Alright, on we go. Moreover, there was a very short incubation period between infection and the onset of symptoms and death. Okay, inhaled viral particles can spread from the lungs to the lymph nodes and from there disperse through the body. The virus propagates in several places, including liver cells and macrophages, a component of the immune system, and destroy the endothelial cells within blood vessels. Upon reaching the brain, it forms a neural sludge of blood mixed with other bodily fluids. Sounds serious. Within roughly 12 hours, bleeding would be set in throughout the body, everywhere but the bones and muscles, with lethal results. Due to its incredibly high mortality rate, the disease's very existence had been kept hidden from public knowledge. Osawa's computer chimed to signify the arrival of a new email. The sender was He hurried to open the message. Once again, the subject line read, 1 year ago, South Africa. Your crimes. Osawa stared at those two words. My crimes? That left him with only further questions. He looked again at the images from the previous email. What makes any of this my crimes? He could see that the patient's bleeding was severe. He estimated that several hours had passed since the onset of the disease. It wouldn't be long before their lives were cut short. To feel that agony, that suffering, and then to perish. Am I to blame for that? Another faint knock came at the door. Darling, do you have a moment? It was his wife, I don't think it matters too much. I don't think she's going to see our medical stuff and think too much of it. She doesn't strike me as someone who would be too terribly invasive. Yes, come in. I stepped into the study, the room filled with the scent of her perfume. Have you reconsidered the whole America thing? She asked. This again, Osawa thought sullenly to himself. Please, he said. Can we not discuss this right now? If not now, then when? You know, this isn't a decision just to make on your own. On his latest business trip, a major American pharmaceutical firm had attempted to headhunt him, asking him to join, and he would be among the top researchers in the world. The money and prestige held no interest for him, and he was reluctant to turn his back on Okoshi Pharmaceutical after his many years of service. Okay, the pharmaceutical company for which Kenji Osawa works is a major corporation with a solid sales network both domestically and internationally. At an annual turnover of 1 trillion yen, it holds patents for several medications that are in demand worldwide and is influential at the Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare and other political institutions. The company employs roughly 7,000 people, including 600 researchers. Okay, nonetheless, he was intrigued by the offer. It would mean the chance to conduct his virus research in a much better funded environment. Taking the job would necessitate relocating to the U.S., however. When he mentioned the possibility of emigrating to she'd shot the idea down on the spot. Her opposition was understandable. Ai's father, Suguru Makino, was a member of Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' board of directors. No way was she going to let Osawa jump ship to another company. Darling, please. I drew in closer to him. Think about it from my perspective. If you leave for America, what am I supposed to tell my father? He'd gotten so used to it, that grating whine of hers. Have you considered what might happen to Okoshi if you leave, dear? We can discuss that once all this is finished. Osawa kept his voice level as he could. You do remember that you're a director, right? I said. You have responsibilities. Stop thinking about yourself so much. With a sour look, I turned and departed. Yeah, I don't think she even came close to reading her monitor there. Well, he had known that moving to America would never be a simple matter, regardless of what his wife thought about it. There was another reason, however. The antiviral agent that he had developed at Okoshi. Okay, a therapeutic drug used to treat viral infections. Examples include the drugs used for influenza and HIV. These treatments do not eliminate the infection, rather they simply inhibit the development of the disease. There are still many issues with such drugs, including the risk that treated viruses possess or develop a resistance that makes the treatment ineffective. Academic institutions and pharmaceutical companies worldwide devote tremendous resources to furthering advancing the field of antiviral medicine. After the UA virus was discovered, infectious disease research facilities worldwide had thrown themselves into a top-secret effort to develop a vaccine. Okay, vaccines function by safely introducing a harmless or attenuated version of a virus or other pathogen into the human body. This triggers the body to produce antibodies against the pathogen, making it difficult for the dangerous version to take hold. Yeah. Basic stuff. But Makino had ordered Osawa to work on creating an antiviral agent, not a vaccine. A vaccine immunized the subject in order to prevent infection in the first place. Conversely, an antiviral agent could be used to treat patients already infected. It was a so-called wonder drug for combating the virus itself. Creating such a drug was far easier said than done. Developing the antiviral had been a long, arduous road. Only after years of research had Osawa's team succeeded in identifying a substance that might qualify as an antiviral agent for UA. In theory, if it was administered during the virus's initial stages, 100% recovery could be attained. Data also suggested that an 80% survival rate for patients treated shortly after the onset of symptoms. But there was a fatal flaw with the new antiviral agent. The side effects on the body were unusually potent. If it was administered in amounts beyond a certain threshold, it was linked to life-threatening complications. For a time, the research was at an impasse. It had seemed that the drug had to be administered in high volume to combat the explosive propagation of the UA virus. But then Osawa had received some fortuitous news. Okoshi Pharmaceuticals' nanotechnology branch... Technology created and or operated on an extremely small scale, often measured in nanometers. There are 1 billion nanometers in a meter. Some nanotech devices are literally regulated on the atomic level. The possibilities are ever-expanding in practical fields such as medicine and material science. The United States is among the world leaders in the push for research and development. Nanomachines, son. Okay, known as the DDS. Oh, is that like the Dick Detective, the Dick Diary something? Okay, acronym for Drug Delivery System. Such a system administers ultra-microscopic drug capsules to a targeted area of the body. Alright. Okay, Osawa had jumped on it immediately. By administering his antiviral agent with the nanotech DDS, he was able to use smaller amounts of the drug to quash the UA virus with precision. The procedure was a huge success. There was a marked increase in the drug's efficacy. I'll go with that. Along with the expected decrease in adverse side effects. Pharmaceutical is said to have a positive side effect if its use brings on the desired results when treating a medical condition, but many drugs create unwanted or unforeseen adverse effects as well. Given the extreme complexity of most drugs' interactions with the human body, nearly any medicine can have both a positive and negative effect. Or have positive and negative effects. The effects had been confirmed via animal testing on monkeys. Okay, experiments involving drugs or medical techniques tested on animals to confirm their safety before they are used on humans. The 1964 Declaration of Helsinki, which lays out ethical standards for human experimentation, advocates responsible animal testing, but many animal rights advocates regard such testing as a form of animal cruelty. Okay, and clinical trials. When a new drug is being prepared for government approval after it has been tested on animals, it must pass tests on humans. clinical trials that evaluate its safety and sustainability. Such tests are frequently conducted on both patients and healthy individuals. In Japan, the development of new drugs is often hindered by insufficient legal infrastructure for conducting clinical trials, resulting in smaller knowledge base and fewer opportunities for testing. But the very existence of this new wonder drug was still a secret. No doubt Akashi's leadership would be reluctant to see Osawa, the drug's lead researcher, transferred to another company. Still, it wasn't completely outside the realm of possibility. Once the antiviral was out of development and announced to the public, Osawa would be free and clear. For that very reason, he was loath to cause any friction over the drug right now. This anxiety only magnified his concern about the email he'd just received. Osawa called up Tanaka over the intercom. "There's something I want to show you. You come in here? Could you come in here?" He needed a second opinion, and Tanaka could be relied upon. Osawa opened the door the moment Tanaka knocked. He looked around before ushering his vice director inside. "What's this about, sir?" "This." Osawa showed him one of the images. Tanaka's face went pale. "It can't be." Tanaka clearly recognized the symptoms of the Ua virus. "Any idea what this is about?" Osawa asked. "No, sir. These images were just emailed to me. The subject line says, 1 year ago, South Africa. That would put it around the same time as the most recent run of infections, wouldn't it, sir?" "But that information isn't..." Tanaka trailed off. Osawa nodded. Or nodded. "The thing I don't understand is why these pictures were sent to me." Osawa opened the other email from Ah. "The second message I got says these pictures are my crimes." "I'll look into this on my end, sir," Tanaka said. He hesitated uncomfortably. "Sir, just to make sure, Are you asking about what I think you're asking about?" Osawa said. Tanaka gave a slight nod. "Understood," Osawa said. "Don't worry. I won't trouble you." "I appreciate that, sir." Visibly relieved, Tanaka left the study. Osawa brought up a folder marked Ua virus on his screen. Within the folder were enlarged images of the virus itself. He double-clicked one of the images. It blew up on the monitor to reveal the pathogen in intricate detail. A specimen of the Ua virus was approximately 100 nanometers in diameter. 10,000 of them in a line would take up barely a millimeter. But a single tiny virion entering the human body could become 2,000 in an hour. That speed of multiplication was nothing short of astonishing. Even the Ebola virus had a typical incubation period of 7 days or so before infectees developed symptoms. Okay, Ebola, a virus of the family that causes Ebola hemorrhagic fever. Currently, the 5 characterized species are known as Thai Forest, Sudan, Reston, Zaire, and Bundibugyo. Bundibugyo. Ebola is widely known for its high mortality rate, 53% for the Sudan form, 88% for the Zaire, but the Reston variety, discovered in monkeys that had been brought to humans into the U.S., has displayed no pathogenicity in humans. For influenza, it was 1 or 2, but the onset of the Ua virus happened in a mere 12 hours. Osawa viewed an image slideshow of the virus's propagation mechanism. It was a fascinating sight no matter how many times he looked at it. Viruses existed to multiply, nothing more. They had no motives, no driving logic, nothing but simple multiplication. To Osawa, the fact held a certain air of mystery. If viruses had emotions, how would they feel about their lives? He had thrown himself into virus research in search of answers to questions like that, answers that no man could truly know. His development of the antiviral agent had really been nothing more than another job responsibility. He felt no particular sense of duty to protect people from a killer virus. He was just happy for the chance to play around with Ua day after day. Another email arrived in his inbox. The sender? Ah. The subject line? 1 year ago, South Africa. Again. Osawa read the message. Do not look away. These are your crimes. This time there were 4 images attached. Osawa proceeded to open each of them in turn. The first shocked Osawa so much that he felt like he'd been punched in the head. One of the Uwa patients from the earlier images was being injected with something. No, Osawa muttered to himself. It can't be. The second image showed one of the infected, hunched over in pain, vomiting up blood. The symptoms had already manifested, but Osawa thought he could see that some degree of life had come back into the patient's eyes. He rushed to open the third image. It showed a morgue, piled high with corpses. The rictus of anguish of the dead faces made them look no longer human. Various fluids seeped from the eyes and nostrils. The lymph nodes were grotesquely swollen. Okay, small organs that function as a part of the lymphatic system in mammals. When a foreign substance invades the body, the lymph nodes detect it, prompting the production of white blood cells such as lymphocytes and macrophages to consume the invader. A viral infection sometimes causes the lymph nodes to swell up as a result of increased activity. Okay, there were hospital beds stained with massive amounts of blood and gastric fluids. Next came the fourth and final image. More corpses. They had badges affixed to their chests with various labels. 6 hours passed, 12 hours passed, and 18 hours passed. It looked as if someone had been attempting live trials with the antiviral agent. Osawa didn't consider the antiviral agent ready for release, but that was because his team hadn't conducted clinical trials on humans yet. And there was a good reason why such trials hadn't been conducted. There was no way to test the efficacy of the drug without an infected patient. To run a proper clinical test, someone would first need to be infected with the Uwa virus. No matter how effective animal testing has been, if the drug proved ineffective on humans, that person would have a guaranteed death sentence. It was unthinkable to run trials that involved such a deadly risk. And yet, as he looked over the images again, Osawa became certain. Without his knowledge, someone, presumably someone from Okoshi Pharmaceutical, had conducted human testing with the antiviral agent. The time markers on the corpses in the fourth image were surely there to mark the time elapsed since the onset of symptoms. A thorough trial would test the drug's effectiveness in those time frames. Osawa slammed his fist on the desk, enraged. This was nothing short of vile human experimentation in the guise of clinical testing. The people responsible could not be allowed to get away with this. There was only one person Osawa could trust to keep this under wraps, his boss, Makino. He reached for his phone to call Makino, but he stopped short as soon as he picked up the receiver. He knew he was in no state of mind to have a calm, reasoned conversation right now. Turning to the CD player, he put on Aya Kamiki's latest album. Leaning back in his chair, he surrendered himself to her soothing tones. Bit by bit, he could feel himself returning to a calmer, emotional state. There had been a time when Osawa hadn't listened to music at all. In fact, he'd had no interest in the arts in general. Music, painting, cinema. Yeah, typical STEM major. It was only due to a simple coincidence that he had found Aya Kamiki. His daughter had asked for a CD as a birthday present, so he'd swung by the store to pick one up. Since Kamiki's new album had just come out, there was a display for it in front of the shop. Something about the bright, colorful album packaging had drawn him in. I don't know, that looks kind of monochrome to me. After a time, Osawa could feel himself growing calmer. He took a nice, deep breath. Okay, we got a choice here. Do we dial up the Makino, or we close his eyes and try to... See, if they were playing the pillows, I would have cranked that shit up. If we were playing seat belts, I would have cranked that shit up. But, well, let's try this. First, he took a nice deep breath. Then he closed his eyes and he tried to banish his nerves completely. Serenity now, serenity now. Inclining his head toward the music, he could feel the melody pervade his body. He could scarcely believe that there had been a time when he hadn't cared about music. Surely something that had been such a strong effect on the body and mind alike also conveyed a deeper meaning. Osawa let the positive energy flow through him, buoying his spirits. At last, when his mood had sufficiently calmed under the music influence, Osawa reached for the handset. The study door opened and a stolid-faced man appeared in the doorway. "I beg your pardon, Mr. Osawa. Would you mind coming into the living room for a moment?" The detectives assembled in the living room and all wore grave expressions. The room was brimming with tension, and Osawa felt it ramp up even further as he entered. "What is it?" he asked. "Has something happened?" The man who had come to find him turned to speak, hesitating at first. "Yes. It turns out that your other daughter, Hitomi, has been abducted by an unknown party." Oh boy. Abducted? Osawa's mind whirled. "What are you talking about?" "Maria's the one who's been abducted." "No, sir, you don't understand. I'm saying that Hitomi has also been abducted in addition to Maria." "Don't be ridiculous. The night before, his daughter Maria gets kidnapped, and this morning his other daughter Hitomi gets carried off when she goes to deliver the ransom? He'd never heard of anything more outrageous in his life." "We're sorry, sir. A detective was with her, but..." The police went on to explain that Hitomi had somehow managed to end up all by herself, and while she was alone, several individuals had forced her into a car and driven off. Osawa could barely comprehend what they were saying. His mind was in a fog. The detective's words seemed to grow quieter and quieter. Osawa's strength drained from his body. His ability to process external stimuli began to drift far, far away. "It's not possible. It can't be. Could no one keep them safe? Not me? Not anyone? My girls, they... Hitomi, Maria. It's not true. This is all just a bad dream. Some kind of sick joke. It's not true. It's all just a bad dream. It's a lie. It's a twisted joke. Someone made this all up. Stop it. Stop saying this. I don't want to hear it. Tell me it's all a lie. Tell me it isn't true. Tell me now, please. Tell me." Slowly, the ceiling began to spin. Then Osawa's vision went awash with white. Ooh, worst case scenario. Osawa had a complete mental breakdown when he learned not just one but both of his daughters had been kidnapped. But surely there has to be someone who can keep Hitomi safe. She's been on the run with Achi, but just what are they up to? The key to changing her fate and her father lies with Achi's decision at 11:05. Okay, how about this? So we'll come back to him. I just want to get a sense for what Tama's shtick is about, and see how Tama is a part of all this. It's so hot. It's so hot in this thing. Way too hot. I feel like I'm sitting in a sauna. Everyone else on the street looks nice and cool, but here I am getting treated to my very own midsummer heat wave. On top of that, I can barely breathe for that matter, but hey, what can I do? Huff, huff, pant, pant, huff, huff, pant, pant. Oh, I am so thirsty. Some iced tea would be amazing right now. I'm going to pass out from dehydration at this rate. I may as well admit it, I underestimated how tough this would be. Who knew wearing a mascot costume could be so uncomfortable? People looking at people who wear mascot costumes. That's who. A delicate young lady like myself has no business doing this sort of job. I suddenly have so much respect for the people on those superhero shows. Like, can you imagine doing action scenes and something like this? Heck, all I'm doing is standing here and I'm this close to calling it quits. But I can't. I need the work. I need the money. This is no time to be a wuss. If I give up on this, what else am I possibly going to do? Check out the revolutionary new diet drink, Burning Hammer! That is a wrestling move. A professional wrestling move, and it is the most goddamn dangerous wrestling move you can do to someone. I thrust a free sample toward a passerby while shouting out as loud as I can. A free portion, usually quite small, of a product given out to consumers as a sales gimmick allows them to test the quality and effect of a cosmetic or health product prior to purchase, frequently referred to as trial size or freebie version of the product. In addition to passing out free samples on the street, some shops also include free samples with purchased products. Please note that simply taking a product without paying for it in order to test it out is theft. Don't do it. Come on and give it a try. Oh, it's no use. People just walk by one after the other. They avoid looking at the sample. It's been like this ever since I started standing here. What gives? You'd figure at least one person would have taken a bottle by now. I mean, it's free, but I haven't managed to give away a single one. If this keeps up, there's no way I'm getting paid. And then this whole miserable experience would have all been for nothing. Just drink this and watch the pounds melt away. No exercising or dieting necessary. I can hear the desperation in my own voice. Just burn, 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 burn those pounds away. They're giving me cold looks now. They probably think I'm some shyster trying to offload dodgy product. It's that simple, folks. You just drink the weight away. I guarantee it. Heck, this whole thing reeks of a scam to me, too. Oh, boy. In other words, it seems extremely dubious or suspicious. The word scam, referring to a type of dishonest scheme, is actually of unknown origin. Several folk etymologies have been proposed, including that it comes from a simple shortening of scandalous misdeeds, but these claims have little evidence to support them. Losing weight just by drinking some concoction is too good to be true. But still, free is free. You'd think I'd be able to give away one or two away. It's not like I'm not trying. Okay, pep talk time. You can do this. Think about the money. Just start with one bottle. Alright, I am going to give this bottle away to the next person I see no matter what. I close my eyes and gather my determination. I just need to get started and the momentum will build from there. Those dudes, right? Wait, hold on. Alright, eyes open. There are two people walking in my direction. Wait, two? Oh no, which one do I pick? If I keep waffling, they're going to pass me by. I just need to hand this bottle off. Which one of these guys looks more likely to take it? Clutching the free sample of my furry fist. Okay, I try to force it up on the businessman to my left, or I try to force it off on the disheveled fellow to my right. I know that disheveled fellow looks very familiar. Clutching the free sample in my furry fist, I try to force it off on the disheveled fellow to my right. Well, I mean, he does look homeless, so maybe he would appreciate a free sample. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, there's sound logic behind that. Perfectly sound logic. To my surprise, he takes it. Huh? What's this? He asks, lifting an eyebrow as he looks toward the bottle. I flap my fuzzy arms and strike a cute pose as I launch into the product pitch. It's Burning Hammer, the #1 new diet drink. Please give it a try. No thanks, the man says. I'm good. I keep my arms held open wide and I pretend I didn't hear that. Look, he says, I'm in a hurry. You should give this to someone else. He tries to hand the sample back to me, but I hold my ground. For a few moments, we are at a silent impasse. Maybe he's weirded out by my cat alter ego holding its freeze-frame pose, because eventually he looks away, sips the bottle, slips the bottle into his pocket, and walks off. I did it. I finally got someone to take one. But there are still so many samples left. My brief surge of excitement dies before it can even fully take hold. I wonder how the other mascot is doing about now. Okay. There's a sales demo happening today at 1 o'clock at the Nokane building. Huh? Looks like the chicken has just handed out all kinds of samples. I don't get it. How come nobody is taking any of mine? What could I possibly be doing wrong? I look at the clock. It's a little after 11. My morning of wandering around hawking diet drinks is just about over. I'll need to get ready to head over to the sales demo. I'd love to take off the costume, but then I'd have to carry it. The samples I haven't given out are almost too heavy as it is. Oh well. I might not have gotten results, but I tried my best. I sure hope they don't withhold my pay or anything. Hey, what gives? You got that many left? Ugh. The chicken speaks with a female voice. Yeah, I reply sheepishly. Nobody seems to want to take mine. Well, I mean, you are looking for the right targets. Huh? Like groups of girls or bored-looking older ladies. Those are the types you gotta be gunning for, you know. Wow, I hadn't even considered that. Now she says it. Now that she says it, it seems so obvious. This is a diet drink, after all. Of course I'm not gonna have any luck trying to foist it off on random guys. Well, whatever, the chicken says. Here, give me the samples you've got left. I hand over my samples, and the chicken dumps the whole lot of them into her basket. I'll drink whatever's left so they don't find out you didn't pass them out, she says. Huh? Wait, like all of them? Yeah, all of them. The chicken sounds pretty confident in herself. These may just be sample-sized bottles, but they still add up to a lot. I can feel myself on the brink of tears at the kindness of her offer. Thank you so much, that's a huge help. I bow deeply, which makes my mascot head wobble. Leaving the station behind, we head down to Center Guy towards the Nokane building. Okay, a multi-tenant office building in, Udagawacho, I guess, located in Center Guy, Shibuya's downtown district. In addition to hosting the weight loss drink sales demo, the building is also home to the foreign capital protection firm Japan Cellcom, the IT mainstay Shibuya, OnNet SON, video game developer Shindai Tradco, and Strikeback Labs, publisher of the monthly magazine Science Strikes Back, along with many other businesses. The Burning Hammer sales demo was going to be held there this afternoon. The job's supposed to pay 10,000 yen for the day, but if we can sell at least 100 bottles at the demo, they've promised another 10,000 yen on top of that. I need to make sure I sell those 100 bottles. I need that 20,000 yen, and I need it ASAP. Oh boy, we arrive at the Nokane building, a run-down multi-tenant office complex. We head into the room where the Burning Hammer sales demo is taking place. There are already about 50 seats set out. I wonder how many people the free samples will pull in. A stage has been set up at the far end of the room. That's where I'm going to be standing, sipping the Burning Hammer, while explaining its effects to the customers. Hurry up and take the thing off. The chicken flaps her wings as she speaks. It's kinda early, but come on, let's have lunch. I'm starving. Now that she mentions it, I realize I'm pretty hungry myself. The demo's not starting for another 2 hours. I can't win a war against my stomach for that long. The chicken and I head out to the waiting room where they've set out our lunches for us. Mind getting my back real quick? The chicken asks. She arches her back toward me. She apparently can't reach her own zipper. Oh, sure, just give me a sec. I try to unzip the back of the chicken suit, but my suit's own thick, fuzzy fingers have a hard time of it. What's the holdup? Come on, I'm roasting in this thing. Hurry up and get it off me. I've almost got it, it's just awkward with these mitts. Finally, I get a hold of the zipper and yank it, downward. A girl emerges from the chicken as if the chicken itself were an egg. Whew. I'm alive! Her red sweatshirt is drenched in sweat. Almost at once, she's kicking back and cooling off with a hand fan. Sorry, but would you mind getting me too? I asked. Yeah, okay. I turned my back to the girl. I hear metal clacking behind me. At long last, I'm about to be free of this 5-ton fursuit. Huh? The girl murmurs awkwardly. Huh? What? A spike of anxiety hits me. What's wrong? I ask. Yeah, that's a no-go. Zipper's busted. What? Yeah, sorry, this thing ain't coming off. What? My vision goes dark. No! I tug desperately at the costume, but no luck. I'm trapped inside! Oh, what the crap! Oh well, we can talk to the boss about it when he gets back, the girl says. I mean, it's not like we can just cut it off with you and scissors and... Not like we can cut it off with you... Not like we can cut it off you with scissors or anything. She sounds entirely unconcerned. It's so unfair. I need to get out of this stuffy, sweltering steam bath as soon as possible. All I can do is clench my fist in an impotent rage. But anyway, good work out there today, the girl continues. I'm Shiriko Osugi, by the way. You can just call me Chiri. She smiles as she introduces herself. I mean, I am a pretty cheery gal, after all. She breaks into a hearty guffaw. Oh, sure, I say. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, for sure. So I guess you're not going to be able to eat lunch in that get-up, huh? Huh? That's right. What should I do? Don't sweat it. Just leave it to me. Huh? I'll eat both lunches by myself. Oh, God. Cheery doesn't even wait for me to reply before reaching for my lunch. It'd be a shame to let it go to waste, she says. Okay, first she steals our diet drink, then the bitch eats our lunch. Nice. She makes it sound like leftover food is a bigger concern than my hunger. I feel my appetite stirring all the more as she devours my meal with a satisfied grin on her face. A faint, pathetic gurgle rises from my belly. It's just a cheap little pre-packaged box lunch, but right now it looks like a feast. So what's your name? Chiri asks. Her cheeks are still packed with rice. My name? Yeah. Oh, it's, As I struggle to think of an answer, my eyes alight on the piece of tamagoyaki clutched between Chihiri's chopsticks. The yellow slab of lightly grilled egg wobbles to and fro. I can see the inside from the way it's been sliced. It looks somewhat undercooked. Come on, what's your name? Oh, right, Tama. It's Tama. Huh, you mean like the famous cat? Well, ain't that fitting? Chiri chortles and stuffs the piece of tamagoyaki in her mouth, and then takes a big swig of iced tea. I am beyond jealous. I can make it worse. How's that, Tama? I wish I could gorge myself on those lunch boxes until I'm full to bursting. Heck, even a cold glass of iced tea would be a lifesaver right now. I'm so thirsty, I'm starting to get all dizzy. Maybe I really am getting dehydrated. This isn't good. If I don't do something, I'm going to pass out before the sales demo even starts. And then I remember something. The zipper down my back might be bust, but I can still take the head off, right? That way I'd at least be able to eat and drink stuff. All right. I decide to... Well, I guess given her track record right now, I don't think Cherry's going to be much help with her. I don't think she's going to be of much use to us in this instance. So let's decapitate ourselves! I decide to grab the head in both my hands and yank it upward with all my might. Oh, come on! No matter how hard I pull, it won't come off. Ow! A dull pain throbs at the back of my head. Did I smack it against something at some point? Cherry flashes me a curious look. What are you doing? She asks. I thought maybe I could at least get the head off. I try pulling again, refusing to give up. That ain't gonna work. That thing's attached to the body. I slump forward in defeat, face planting on the tabletop. Oh. Most folks would have noticed that when they put it on, you know. Well, I didn't. The boss helped me get into this thing. Well, don't let it get you down, Chiri says. Here, drink some of this. She pulls a bottle with a straw from her bag and pours some of the tea into it. In a fever of thirst, I jam the plastic straw through the mascot's costume's mouth. Thankfully, it reaches as far as my own. I suck for all I'm worth. I suck, and I suck, and I suck. My body rejoices as the moisture returns to it, like rain coming to the desert. And thus, I revive. Actually, it does feel like I'm coming back to life. Oh, thank you so much. I am never going to forget this as long as I live. With tears welling up in my eyes, I clutch Chiri's hand in my fuzzy mitts. "Ah, hey, I'm not the kind of person to abandon someone in need, you know," she replies. An embarrassed grin crosses her face. "How come you're carrying this bottle around with you anyway?" I ask. "Oh, that's 'cause I make my own protein juice." In Japan, the word protein is frequently used to refer to a powdered health food supplement that contains vitamins and minerals as well as a protein component. It is dissolved in milk or another liquid to create a drink. A protein diet typically involves drinking a glass of this in place of a meal. Drinking it in place of tea would assuredly lead to weight gain. Oh, so starving yourself, in other words. A protein juice? Never heard of it. I heard that if you have protein juice for one of your 3 meals a day, you'll lose weight. Okay, yeah, so it's the shake diet. So yeah, I kinda need to keep it. Given Chiri's sort of, well, chubby frame, I don't think the protein's been working so great for her. Hey, quit body shaming, you stupid cat. I've been trying all sorts of stuff, but right now protein is totally the best thing for my diet. This stuff, though... Chiri casts her eyes to the samples of burning hammer on the table. It's like, totally bogus. Huh? Bogus? That's a surprise. Well, yeah, Chiri says. You've got to exercise if you want to burn body fat. The best way to burn fat is to engage in steady, low-intensity aerobic exercise. After roughly 20 minutes of such exercise, the body burns through its available blood sugar, and the brain sends signals to have fat brought into the bloodstream. This is how fat is burned. Anaerobic exercise, which leaves you panting and breathless, is not effective. Alright, well, good advice. She smacks herself on one flabby arm. I mean, there's no way you're going to lose weight by taking in more calories. Huh? Didn't she say she was drinking protein juice to lose weight? I keep that thought to myself. I mean, that'd be just as ridiculous as an all-you-can-eat Kobe beef, she adds. She shakes her head seriously. I'm not sure about using all-you-can-eat as anything as an example in a discussion about weight loss. I keep the thought to myself. But hey, a job's a job, Chiri says after a moment, perking up again. They tell me to sell this junk, I'll just sell it. A sudden wailing comes from the other side of the door. Please, just give me time. I swear I'll get it back to you. What the heck? Chiri says. Is that the boss? I nod. That's definitely Mr. Yanagashita's voice. He's the guy who hired me. Sidling up, there's that word again, sidling, up alongside Chiri, I very quietly open the door and take a quick peek inside. Oh, Mr. Y, we'll call him that, is down on his hands and knees, begging while 2 uncouth-looking men glower at him. Just a little more time, that's all I ask, he pleads. Once I sell the stuff, I can pay you back. I see a tiny bottle of burning hammer in his hand. Just a little more, mimics the middle-aged fellow. Just a little more? I gotta sell this. We've heard enough of that out of you. Yeah, the younger guy sneers. We ain't giving you any more time, so quit asking. But I really need just a little longer this time. Please, you gotta believe me. From the looks of things, Mr. Yanagashita is dealing with some loan sharks. Okay, though it seems obvious that this term refers to toothy predators of the deep, the word shark in this case actually has its origins in an older Germanic word meaning parasite or someone who preys on others. The same word gave rise to the term pool shark and card shark. In the case of loan sharks, though, the initial mental image seems quite appropriate. And the 2 thugs are clearly in no mood for his continued groveling. Chiri and I exchange a glance. It's probably best if we don't go out there right now. But now I'm really worried. Am I actually going to get paid for this gig? As I'm pondering that, one of the men grabs Yanagashita by the nape of the neck and drags him to his feet. Come with us, pal. We'll take you somewhere you can, work off your debts. Say what? Mr. Yanagashita wails. The 2 men drag him away. Guess he's gone then, Chiri says. She does not give a fuck. She's already starting to pack up her things. Wait, what are you doing, I ask. Going home. Not much point sticking around. Going home? I mean, the demo sure ain't happening now. Anyhow, it was nice working with you. See ya. Moments later, Shiri is out the door. Oh boy. Now what do I do? I've been left here all by myself, more or less, at a total loss. Oh, that's the bad end. Shift's over. What do I have to say about that? Our poor feline friend isn't going to get paid now that those debt collectors showed up and dragged her boss away. If a certain someone hadn't told the thugs how to get to the Nokane building, they probably wouldn't have had caught Yanagishita. The right decision happens at 11:15, but who has to make it? Alright. Well, that was unfortunate. Okay, that's another bad end. And I think I'm gonna call it here. I've been talking for almost 3 hours. I'm on my 3rd bottle of water. And my voice is starting to get a little tired. If you couldn't already tell, I'm kind of hoarse. I think cutting it here would be good. So, yeah. So anyway, thanks to everyone who stopped by. You know, I think I like this. I think I might possibly stick with this after I wrap up Signalis, which I might play sometime tomorrow. I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I have the day off tomorrow, Veterans Day, and I'll have some time for that. Yeah, so probably just to get through the rest of that, and maybe possibly pick this up again Saturday, hopefully. All right, so without further ado, that is the end of our stream. This was Poncho Smith signing off. Good night, good luck wherever you are. Stay dry, drier than me at least.